good afternoon to you. Beautiful afternoon here in Nottingham. We're all set for this third and final T20 match between England and India. Of course, India have already won the series. They've won the first two games, and handsomely they did so too. So lots of changes to tell you about. England changes-wise, there's two in their side, as Jos Buttler, who's won the toss and has decided to bat first today, so a bit of a change. He wants a bit of a change of luck. Well, they've dropped Sam Curran. For a batsman, actually, Phil Salt will bat at number 4, and Willie has been dropped. Reece Topley comes in his place, so left armour for left armour. England, therefore, Roy and Buttler with Malan at 3, Salt 4, then Livingston, Brooke, Moeen, Willie, Jordan, Gleeson and Topley. I've got confused there. I've got the wrong dropping. Who was dropped instead of Topley?
Parkinson.
Parkinson instead of Topley. There we go. And then for India, 4 changes there. Sharma, Kohli, Yadav, Pant, Shreyas Iyer, Kartik, Jadeja, Harshal Patel, Avish Khan, Umran Malik, who I'm really looking forward to seeing bowling in a moment or two, and Ravi Bishnoi, the wrist spinner. So out come India. Then we've got the Flames setting off into the sky. They're all round Trent Bridge. And England, well, trying to do something a bit better, frankly. They're to be beaten by 50 runs and 49 runs. They're, 150, 175, perhaps even 200 run margins in a test match. I mean, they're big. They're big defeats, those. And although you can look at who isn't here and who might come in, like Jofra Archer, of course, and Ben Stokes and Adil Rashid and Johnny Bairstow, you can go through those list of players who aren't here. You do need some momentum. You need to win games. And there's an opportunity here for some of these to put their names down well and truly, put markers down for the World T20. India, meanwhile, they seem to be cruising on, and they've certainly taken the opportunity here to give some of their other players a run. Umran Malik, very quick indeed. I was watching him warming up on the edge of the square here. Looking forward to seeing him tearing in to bowl. So, we're set to go. India taking the field. England's openers are coming out. Jason Roy didn't get going at all the other match. He was out first ball, and Jos Buttler too. Doesn't seem to be any sort of form at the moment. I've got Carlos Brathwaite for company alongside me. I'm very nice to see you too, Carlos.
Good evening, Aggers. How are you?
I'm pretty well. I'm excited about it. I want your thoughts in a minute on how you, if you're England, how you go about this situation now. 2 down, have got these players who aren't here. How knee-jerk are you about making changes? Does it feel urgently that you need to try and get on the right track? Because there aren't many games, are there? I mean, there's 3 against South Africa coming up, and then they're going to have decided their World Cup squad by then, more or less. So it all happens quite quickly, doesn't it?
It does, but I think there's a bigger picture in mind. I think if it was 1-1 going into this third game, they'd put out probably what they consider their best 11. I think at this point in time, it's looking forward to the World Cup. It's okay to win a series, and you want to win a series. You want to win every game you play for your country, but you'd much rather win the World Cup than win the series against India. And as it's gone already, as it is, there's a lot of potential for players to put the names in the hat and be first choice when you play into Australia.
Here's the first ball. Avish Khan bowls on off stump, and Roy twitchily plays that to mid-on. It was pitched round about the off stump. He plays across the line, down to mid-on. At least he survived the first ball, which is more than he did Edgbaston the other day. He nicked a ball to slip. And, it needs a lot to drag him off the field, actually. I mean, the incoming batsman overtook him. And he was still halfway off the ground. It was one of those sort of dismissals, if you like, one of those dispatches. He didn't want to go at all. But anyway, he's yet to score. And it's Avish Khan bowling from this Radcliffe Road end. He's wearing 65, tall and lean, quite a long run. He scuttles in, bowls outside the off stump, and Roy plays off the back foot and finds the man at backward point. So as a third man, and then down there trying to cover that boundary. It's so short here at Trent Bridge. It's the stand that Johnny Bairstow peppered against New Zealand. It is not a big hit down there into the leg side, bowling from this end. And there's a man there, 60-yard boundary maybe, that he's trying to cover there all by himself. It's not a big hit at all. And if Khan drops short here, Roy, I'm sure, will take it on. There's a slip as Avish bowls on the leg stump, turned into the leg side. It bounces just short of mid-wicket. Almost holing out there for another duck. It's very fortunate they didn't get more of a bat on it, actually, because it wasn't far away at all from Dinesh Karthik. just landed in front of him there at mid-wicket.
I think if he'd been caught there, you just think, this has been my luck.
Well, it would have taken more than just someone to go and pull him off, I think, if that had been dismissed for a second time for a duck. But he's looking around the field. He doesn't quite look himself, really. There must have been an argument, maybe, for replacing him with Salt, who opens and... But anyway, they give Roy another go. And Avesh runs up and bowls a short to him. He does take on that pull shot and picks up one, probably two there, as the ball runs away in front of square, comfortably in front of square, more like round to wide mid-on, really. And it's picked up by the fielder running back there, just outside the circle.
Interesting from Ravi Bishnoi, the fielder.
Yes.
It looked as though he fall for all the previous 4 steps before he actually did lunge into dive and pick it up cleanly and return it.
Is he 21, 22? Is another young wrist spinner. Avesh on his way, bowls, and Roy charges and then plays an ugly shot. Trying to hit him through the offside, I think. It's quite hard to tell looking at that, but he came skipping down the pitch and then flung the bat at the ball and missed it. It's taken by Rishabh Pant behind the stump. So England are 2 for no wicket. They desperately need to get a win under their belts here. They didn't want to lose 3-0. So they're so outplayed in the first 2 games. A very strong and deep India squad. Avish runs away and bowls, and Roy waits and then tries to run the ball to third man and doesn't get there. It's picked up at backward point by Ravi Jadeja, and that's a good opening over with just 2 runs coming from it. And we'll have Jos Buttler on strike. I'm hoping this very exciting young fast bowler Umran Malik, who has got some proper pace about him. Only seen him on the telly. He was very quick indeed. From Kashmir, and I don't know how many international cricketers have come from Kashmir, but sort of a very northern, mountainous area, of course, of the subcontinent, politically disputed. But this young man is very, very quick. He's got quite a long, straight run. He's not a big man at all. He's not a tall man. But he has got some proper pace. And Jos Buttler, I'm sure, will have come across him. Plays for Hyderabad in the IPL. And what's he got? He'd have a third man and long leg, I'd have thought, with a man of his speed. 2 for no wicket. Get Buttler on strike. And here he comes, a dip of the head and a scurrying quick run is there, and he bowls it sliced away for 4. Not necessarily controlled, I didn't think. It was in the air and a yard certainly to the left, and that would have been caught. But Buttler's off with a boundary from a ball that was short of a length, and he cut it off the back foot, but it's very, very close indeed to the man there at backward point. And Buttler's away with 4 runs. Now we've got there's a bit of news about that remarkable wheelchair men's singles final we were listening to before us. Alfie Hewitt did go on to lose that final tiebreak, so Shingo Kunyada of Japan has taken that title, just in case you were wondering. 6 for no wicket. And Malik bowls and he flashes outside the off stump, and that's quick. That is quick. And that was past Buttler, I think, before he'd finished playing that shot. It's showing 89 on the speedo there, but it felt a bit more than that.
Yeah, I'm on speed gun watch.
Yeah.
It was 88 first ball, 89 this ball, and both were back of a length. And you tend to find the speed gun doesn't do the pace justice when it's back of a length. If he bowls Yorker length delivery or full pitch delivery, we'll probably see that same ball being clocked at 93.
You'd think so. It's funny to think, there's nothing to him, is there? He's just wiry. He's not a tall man. Where does he get this pace from? And he comes now, bowls short and hits Buttler. Trying to pull that. Again, done for pace, I suspect. It was short, dug in.
That is not 86.
If that's 86...
That's closer to 186 than it is 86.
Sometimes I don't believe these speedos. That was a quick ball. I don't think Jos Buttler would be thinking that was 86 miles an hour. That's your pace downwind. Almost.
86 kilometres.
I saw you on the telly the other night. He looks at least 86 years old. No, I don't mean that, Carlos. I don't mean that at all. Seven for no wicket. And, that looked quick to me. And Jason Roy's going to have a go now. Look how far the keeper is standing back. As Imran bowls to him, that's turned into the leg side. Just trot through for a single there as that's played out towards square leg. Yeah, Umran Malik. So there's nothing to him.
91 miles an hour. That's the fullest ball he's bowled. It probably looked the slowest of the four, and it's clocked the fastest. So I think there's a big disparity in
that's
where
interesting.
it does pitch, but generally he's bowling rockets for the first few balls.
Well, I think so. I commentated on the show about 100-mile-an-hour ball in Cape Town, and it was just like it was comes in bowls tonight, turns it to mid-wicket. 100 miles an hour? Umran bowls. Oh, what a shot that is! Butler's hit a 6. Leaning back, little effort, and just a short-arm jab. And we'll wait and see what speed that was, but it was lively for sure, but that didn't matter to Butler.
It was 100 miles an hour off the bat, I reckon.
I think it was.
That's one thing about pace, especially at a ground like Trent Bridge. It can go the distance, and I think what was most impressive about that shot is that it's not rushed him. You normally find when the ball goes over fine leg, it's kind of a top edge, kind of a rush. That's gone well in front of mid-wicket on its way to long on.
What a shot. Here's Umran again. He bowls, and it's down the leg side, a swish and a miss from Butler. And that will be signalled a wide, nicely taken by Rishabh Pant. 15 for no wicket, 91 miles an hour showing. No, the 100-mile ball was literally, in he comes, bowls, and played to mid-wicket. And then it came up on the screen, 100. You go, really? Didn't look any different to anything else.
I would have loved to know what was going through Nick Knight's mind after he saw.
Well, yeah, I think he was a bit surprised because he didn't feel it was 100 miles an hour either. 15 for no wicket. The slip is 5 yards from that 30-metre circle. Umran bowls. He's driven for 4 through the covers. What an over this has been. We've seen pace, hostility. We've seen 2 4s. That was a lovely cover drive. And that's 6 through mid-wicket. 19 for no wicket after 2. Well, I suppose it's true. The faster you bowl, the faster you come onto the bat.
Yeah, not much margin for error, to be honest. A ground like this, as small as it is, pitch as nice as it always is at Trent Bridge. There's not much seam or swing movement, just raw pace. They'll probably take him off now and bring him back when the field is spread a bit. The shock factor definitely didn't work in that opening over.
Yeah. Do you dare save a bowl like that for sort of the lowerish order or not? Do you dare put as a captain think that far ahead or not?
Yeah, you have an idea of who you want to bowl your last 3 overs, and sometimes that is dictated by what happens in the middle of the game. But for someone like him with that pace, I'd ideally love to see mid-on, mid-off, up, and let him have a right go at the batsman in the middle, make it really uncomfortable for them. Look to get a few top edges, a la Plunkett, obviously with a few more yards of pace on him.
Yeah. Well, they have made a change. Bishnoi's coming on, the wrist spinner. And so it was a tough time to bowl in the power play. It's a long on, and again, there's a man trying his best to protect that very short boundary to our right-hand side. It's the leg side here, of course. So he's bowling to Roy, who's on 3. 19 for no wicket. They chose to bat first today, so a change. Bishnoi again, all arms and legs, bowls short of a length, and that goes through Roy. Wasn't that short? He tried to force off the back foot, and Punt collected that standing up to the bails. So there's 5 in the offside circle, no one back, 2 in the leg side, and 2 out in the deep. Bishnoi again walks, then breaks into a trot, bowls, and that's driven but not timed. Roy looks very out of sorts, you know.
He does.
Just trying to hit the ball too hard there, perhaps. It mistimed that drive to mid-off. Sharma fielded on the edge of the circle. There's no run, 19 for no wicket. Bishnoi again runs in, bowls short down the leg side, swept straight to the man. Again, there's no run, the pressure building on Roy.
For a player like Roy, we all see, run down the wicket, smack big sixes, but he has also had the opportunity to just play strong shots, just play good cricketing shots. You're a little bit out of sorts, a little bit out of form. Just play proper cricket shots, time the ball, and your form will come back. He's a good enough player.
Bishnoi again, and he's got it. No, he hasn't got it through the gap, but they've got one. It's that man Jadeja again. He's just such an all-round cricketer. And in the field, of course, taking that position there at backward point is brilliant, very quick. And that was a full-length dive. It would have been 4 otherwise. But a lovely save, going to his wrong side, as it were, his right side, his left-handed. Even so, brilliantly fielded. 20 for no wicket. Butler's on strike now. Bishnoi's on his way, bowls to him, and he can turn that into the leg side. Try and get 2. I think the fielder gets to the ball now, and they won't take the second run. 21 for no wicket. Roy sweeps away a bit of dirt there on the pitch, and gets ready to face Bishnoi, and he's gone for a huge one, and away it goes into the stand, not into that shortest boundary, but beyond that and into deep mid-wicket. Now that'll make Roy feel better. He's got hold of one of his big shots there, cleared his leg and hit him hard through and over deep mid-wicket. 27 for no wicket after 3 overs. Good start now for England.
Just felt as though that was an action ball. Something had to happen. Let it be a wicket or be a boundary. Massive shot by Jason Roy, down on one leg. It's not the shortest boundary.
Still quite short.
Cleared, yeah.
Yeah, it's attempt to that one.
When you look at Trent Bridge, you see one that's normal length. You're starting to think it's massive, and really, it's not.
No, it's still certainly imminently reachable. The longest one is over the long side, the leg side from this end now. Avesh having a change of ends. He bowled 1 over from this end. He's now coming on from the pavilion end. So they've taken Umran off, and in comes Avesh, and he bowls, and it's hit him high. Now, has it gone far enough? I wonder. Bit off, setting off, heading down towards the boundary. Very high drive there from Butler. They'll come back for the 3rd, scurrying in now. He just got underneath it, looking to launch him down the ground. Didn't quite get it right. There's often something of the slightly mad professor about Andy Zaltzman, but there's been some very strange sort of electronic buzzing noises coming from his area in the last 5 minutes. You're not about to go up in flames or something, are you?
I hope not, Agus.
I hope not.
It might be that microphone getting excited about England's openers performing today.
Absolutely. There's Avesh again, and Roy charges. Oh, now Pant can't stop that. We'll see what it came off. Might have been body, and it was body. Going for the pull shot, they threw it a bit early, and that's hurt Roy, actually. It stung him in the ribs.
The first 2 games, England's openers totaled 4 runs between them in each game, a duck and 4 in both games, and they were in the worst 6 games by England openers in T20 cricket. It had been a great strength of England since Butler went to the top of the order. He personally had averaged 53 over the previous 4 years, opening the batting in T20s at a strike rate of 148.
Change to the field. 3rd man comes up, and there's a deep square leg and a fine leg. And Butler looks around. Got his eye on that leg side boundary again, I reckon, if Avesh drops short. Here he comes again, and he bowls to him, and he works that into the leg side. Ball runs away out to mid-wicket. Picked up by the man inside the circle. Trent Bridge bathed in sunshine. It's an absolutely glorious, glorious day. Trees barely moving. There's lots of blue sky. Just some trace white cloud above. So I hope you're enjoying your weekend, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Off to Scarborough tonight, Carlos. Have you been up there yet?
No, I've not. Am I missing out?
Oh, of course. Here's Avesh, bowls, and oh, he's chopped it on. Lots of bat on that. And that's a shame from Butler's perspective. He was just looking dangerous, certainly entertaining. And looking to hit Avesh through the offside. He's chopped the ball into his wicket. And he's the first man out. It's 31 for 1. And Butler's on his way.
And you have to ask yourself, if you give the field change a wicket, it's a bit close for him to play a cross batted shot. going horizontal, trying to cut it, but with everyone up on the offside, you start to think that's where your gap is. If third man was back or sweeper was back, would he have punched it with a vertical bat and maybe make better contact? So good field positioning, but also good execution from the bowler. Both balls were top of off stump, not short enough that he can slap it over mid-wicket as he did Umar Malik, but also not full and wide enough that he can pierce the offside field, and it eventually brought about the wicket.
31 for 1. Yes, Scarborough in the sunshine. It'll be lovely watching Yorkshire Surrey tomorrow, the first day of the championship match. Is Scarborough Scarb Vegas? I know Skeg is Skeg Vegas. Do they call Scarborough Scarb Vegas?
Well, why are you looking at me, Agnes?
Well, I thought I can see you being a regular going up there.
Right.
You not go to Scarborough?
I have been to Scarborough, but not for Vegas-style activities.
Well, actually, there is a casino there. I remember from our playing days. It's the Scarborough Festival. Great fun that was. All the tents up and so on. I don't think this match is actually festival, but that starts in a couple of weeks. But yeah, looking forward to that. Now, David Malan. This feels like an important innings for Malan. We talk about the people who aren't here. Avesh on his way, he bowls, and Malan plays an ugly shot, trying to hit him through mid-wicket from a ball of pretty reasonable length there on the off stump. And mistimed, the ball picked up in the offside, but somewhere's got to be room for Stokes, there's got to be room for Bairstow. So you look around the possibilities, and Malan always seems to be under pressure. You always people talk about his place, but
even at number 1 in the world.
Exactly. I know. People say, we're not sure about having him in our team. Havish again moves in bowls, very high bounce. That'll be a wide, I'd imagine. Yeah, no doubt about that. Malan has watched it fly over his head. 32 for 1. I think your shorting sound seems to have gone.
They've switched the microphones, so
right.
Let's blame technology, I guess.
Yeah,
it's always a good thing to blame.
Always safest. Malan looks around the field. Now Abish wants to change the setting here. He's putting a man out to deep square leg. That means that there's a fine leg who's got to come up. Third man's up. What's the second? Oh, there's a square. Yeah, square backward point. So he's going to bowl short of a length here, really. Abish comes up, bowls, and Malan swings and misses outside the off stump. Or flies past the edge, is taken by punt. So 32 for 1. 4 overs have been bowled. England going at 8 and over. They have lost their captain. See if Roy can find some rhythm.
Just on David Malan's form, as you say, Carlos, he'd reached number 1 in the world in his first 24 T20 internationals. Had an extraordinary average of 50, great strike rate of 144, and 11 scores of 50 or more, including 1 century in those 24 innings. But since then, this is going back to the start of last summer's T20s against Sri Lanka, 13 innings, averaging 23, a strike rate of 112, and just 1 half century. That was in the third of those games against Sri Lanka. So this is his 10th inning since his last half century. So his runs and his scoring rate have declined significantly.
Yeah, it just feels like an important innings, I'm sure. Stokes Bairstow will have to come back, I think, for the South African matches, just to get the team together. Jadeja's on now, and he comes in and bowls. He's hit for 6, first ball, straight down the ground. A swing of the bat, almost a lazy swing of the bat from Jason Roy. Can't be a great feeling. You come on, you loosen up, you get yourself ready, mark your run out, bowl a bit of a loosener to your mate at mid-off, come in and bowl, bang, hit for 6.
Just want the batsman just tap it down to middle, long off, get a single, you get into your spell. It won't be any of that from Jason Roy, and that's a more pure, effortless stroke.
Yeah.
Good connection, good timing, 6 runs, not the flurry and the tense that we saw Jason Roy in the first 3 or 4 overs.
I suppose if you're batting, if you are Roy, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that ball's going to land there, isn't it? I mean, Jadeja, new batsman, spinner, is probably going to look to get it roundabouts first ball,
especially when you have long off instead of long on. If you were long on in place, you could start to wonder if it may be into the hip, maybe a bit straighter, but with long off in place, you almost want the batter to drag across the line, so you're starting middle and off, hoping for a little bit of turn away. Batsman drags it over mid on or attempt to, and gets the top edge. and caught in the ring, or splices it down to long off. So yeah, pretty predictable.
Yeah.
But it does work in the bowler's favour as well if you can get a little bit of purchase.
They've lost the ball. This is the problem here. I think there are often some covers down here below us. We can't see. There's a little balcony here with cameras and so on. So I can't see what's happened there. It's not like a lost ball that gets you some extra runs, which is always rather exciting. I mean, it goes down a rabbit hole or something. But this is one that's just disappeared. And yeah, they're going to change it. It's just gone. I don't know where it's gone.
How do you lose a ball in international cricket?
I don't know. Might gone down a drain or something.
I tell you what, the pictures in the Netherlands a couple of weeks ago with people all over looking, searching trees.
Well,
that was good fun.
Balls everywhere. But what was the final ball count, I wonder, of that series?
It nearly bankrupted the Dutch cricket.
I think it did. I think it did.
They're quite about 80 quid each, aren't they?
So the red ones are. Maybe the groundsman's dogs had this one away. Someone's had it.
Or the groundsman's son in the nets tomorrow.
You think it's brand
new Kookaburra ball?
Rifled it. Anyway, we've got a replacement, so we've given up on that one. 38 for 1. Jadeja again bowls, and Roy this time just stands there and taps the ball away into the offside. And there is no run, so it's 38 for 1. Jadeja again wide of the crease bowls, and that's hit away down towards wide mid-on. There's no one back here. It's another boundary. 6 and a 4 to Roy so far, and he placed that perfectly. Mid-on was up on the edge of the circle. He just had to work a little bit to play it past his right hand and away down into the boundary.
And that's the line ideally, and the shot ideally you'd want him to play with mid-on up if the ball was getting any purchase away from the right-hander, but it isn't.
Jadeja again, and this time it's a clubbing, forcing shot off the back foot, not really well timed. It's 42 for 1. Roy on 20 is over his bat. Jadeja again with that mop of hair, bowls a quicker ball, it's cut, again he's hit the field. A couple of yards either way. Those last two shots, and they'd have been boundaries. Jadeja whistling through his over. Bowls, and again it's short, and Roy this time, again he finds the fielder, but they do take a single. The tumbling save by Kohli, actually there at extra cover. It's the end of the over, so 5 gone, there's still one power play to come. 43 for 1, lovely to see you again, Carlos. Some thoughts from you, and then we've got Prakash coming in here.
Surroundings influence decision making so much, and there's not much turn on offer, which is when you normally see the left arm spinner employ the long off. They have long off and then the circle and the boundary mid-on in the circle, and I just wonder if it is fear of going 2 men back on the leg side with that extra short boundary to square leg. If you normally have your square leg and your long on back, you tend to bowl a lot straighter, and it's an easy pick-up over square leg to the short side. You're just wondering how much influence does the surroundings and the dimensions of the field have on the field setting and the eventual plans of the bowlers.
Absolutely, and of course India with a new look bowling attack, there will be some serious thought going into that. Harshal Patel being brought into the attack, the first time in this game. 43 for 1, 5 overs gone, the last over of the power play. Harshal Patel, he's in, he bowls to Roy, and Roy works it on the onside. They'll look for 2, possibly. Will they get them? Will they go for them? Roy wanted it, Malan wasn't interested, and as it turned out, a bit of a fumble might just have allowed the run, but they're content. So 44 now for 1. What have you made of this new look bowling attack, Carlos?
I've been impressed with Avesh Khan. On this Trent Bridge ground, it's easy for the ball to be flying all over the park. He's bowled with some interesting fields, and he's really hit a nice length. And one thing the great Mushtaq Ahmed said is you can attack with your field and defend with the ball. And he bowled basically 2 or 3 balls to Josh Butler, identical deliveries, but he's changed his field, gave Josh Butler something to think about, and it eventually resulted in him chopping on. So be very impressed with his length and the control of Ravi Bishnoi as well.
Here's Harshal bowled. This one's played aerially but clear of the field. A run away to square third for 4 from Malan. Wasn't entirely in control of it, but got enough off it. And once it had beaten the infield, there was no question stopping it. 48 for 1. By far the best start that England have had in the T20 series. Two men in the deep then, one at a deep point and almost mirroring that at deep square leg. Here's Harshal Patel. He's up, he bowls from wideish of the crease, fuller delivery. Gets a hand on it, makes sure he takes the sting out of it. Hit hard into the ground by Malan. 48 for 1. Harshal Patel's come along really well, hasn't he?
I was going crowd catch there, to be honest. Yeah, his rise through the IPL, it was a chance.
Is that really? I thought it went into the ground, but you obviously have seen it better. But if that was the case, then that was a very good stop because it travelled. Just got the feeling it might have hit the ground. But anyway, it didn't matter because it wasn't held on to. Here he is now. Harshal Patel wide in the crease again. Comes in and bowls. And this one's worked away wristily. There will be a couple of runs because Ravi Bishnoi coming in from the deep doesn't pick up cleanly. And that ensures there's a trouble-free second run for Malan. The 50 comes up for England as well. 50 for 1. 2 balls at the power play to come yet. Roy 22, Malan 6, the man out, Jos Buttler. Yes, Harshal Patel's been very good in the IPL in the last 2 or 3 seasons. And that's earned him an India cap. And I think they're looking at him very closely for the World Cup. Here he is again. Those, and this one's played again, not entirely in control, but placed well away from Suryakumar Yadav at that short extra cover. Single to Malan.
Yeah, he really answered the call when RCB needed him. RCB's always looked for a kind of death option. He came up trumps. It just feels as though he started to back what he's good at a lot more in that kind of Dwayne Bravo mould, bowling lots of slow balls, whether it be into the wicket or dipping. And even though you know it's coming, you still have to play it. And I think he's backed his execution over predictability, and that has done wonders for him. And now I think he understands that works, he backs it, and this is why he's representing India.
Last ball of the power play, and a slower ball. Roy had to wait for it and managed to just push it away on the onside in the wide open area. Picks up a run. That's 52 for 1. The power play is done. England will be happy with this.
Yeah, they should be. 52 on the power play. Normally thinking 45. You put a little bit more on because it's Trent Bridge. And then when you look back at what they've done over the series as well, this is ideal for today. And then it's something to build on. You got a little bit of momentum. Jason Roy started to find his feet as well. Malan with a point to prove. Perfectly set, to be honest.
Yeah, it's unreal, isn't it? That we'd be saying this about David Malan. But that's what the game is about. Who'd think that we were talking about Virat Kohli and that he's got to get runs, otherwise he might lose his place.
And that's the beauty of this game. It never stands still. You could be number one, and if you don't match the philosophy of what the team wants, you can still be always feeling as though you're next out. And then with Kohli, a year out he runs.
More than that now.
Persons are always evolving, performing, and your place is always under threat.
Right, so we've got 3 men inside the ring on the offside, 1 at 45 on the onside. Ravi Bishnoi to continue. Goes in and bowls, and it's cut away on the offside. Once again gets a hand on it. The fielder at point is Jadeja, and they will pick up the second. That's rare from Ravi Jadeja. He is such an outstanding fielder, but it was hit firmly. So 2 more to Roy. He's up to 25 now.
We won't see this again, but I think because of how good he is, he actually... no, it was a lot closer. Probably should have done better.
Yeah, that first one was an outstanding stop. Here's Bishnoi again, sort of reverse, swept in front of point, as it turned out, to the left-hander, as he turned around and switch hit that. But I think, again, not quite getting to Roy there. He was looking to go over the top. Ball didn't arrive. And Ravi Bishnoi, of course, more a googly bowler really than leg spin. He's been working on his leg spin a lot in recent times.
And he does come straight up to his ear. Not a traditional Shane Warne type 3 o'clock.
No, he's certainly not the classical leggy easy, Carlos. Here he is now to Malan. This will be interesting. Bishnoi goes away, bowls, and Malan slams it through the offside. I don't think the fielder will get there. He does a great job to get a hand on it, but then can't pull it back in. Virat Kohli there. He'd be disappointed with that. 4 runs to David Malan in England. 59 for 1. He made the ground very quickly, Virat.
Got a good hand to it as well.
Yes, he did.
Pulled it onto his body and then slammed it into the rope, unfortunately for him.
Set very high standards in the field and with fitness, and he'll be disappointed with that. Here's Bishnoi again into Malan, who works it away into that gap in the covers. More work for Kohli, but just a single this time. Score moves to 60 for 1. Ravi Bishnoi burst onto the scene really as part of that under-19 team in that South Africa tournament, and since then, as often happens in Indian cricket now, the IPL fast becoming the barometer of how you get an India cap, which is very strange from, let's say, 5-7 years ago. Here's Bishnoi in again, bowls. This time, big shout, big stroke attempted, big shout from Bishnoi, but I think clearly hitting him outside the line. Carlos, what do you think?
That was a lot closer than made out. Wouldn't be surprised if they go up. Roy shuffling across to the offside. I reckon in the hope of trying to get outside the line of off stump. And I think they do agree with you. Maybe just hit outside off. Thought it looked a lot closer, to be fair. We see on
This
the
will give
replay.
you a sense, Carlos.
Did it?
Umpire's call.
They won't have wasted the review, let's put it that way.
Yes, they certainly haven't. Not great with reviews, India as a team generally. Here's Bishnoi bowls, and this one's the wrong, and that comes back. This could be tight at the... I think a desperate drive from Malan. Looks like he's made his ground. There isn't much excitement among the Indian fielders. Dinesh Karthik it was who charged in, and Roy diving, rather Malan diving at the striker's end, seems to have made his ground, but they will of course have a look.
If you had to call that ball and see it, it'd be two different reactions. You got both batters down in a heap, Pant down in a heap as well, bails off, and
better
then not
throw.
as close a run as we'd hoped for. Excitable delivery, but much ado about nothing in the end.
Absolutely. I think a better throw might have had Malan in a little bit of trouble, but as it turned out, confirmation of what we just saw. Malan making his ground. So Umran Malik gets a second crack. The exciting young man from the state of Jammu and Kashmir. How quickly he's progressed from playing his first ever game in the Syed Mushtaq Ali tournament, which is the limited overs tournament domestically, to getting into India colours. Here he is now. Bowls to Roy, who flashes, and he's nicked it. Rishabh Pant takes the catch, just a feather through. This was really a short and wide ball. Roy gave it everything, and all he could manage was a thin edge into the gloves of Pant. Ebony, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, that was a frustrating one for Jason Roy because he was just starting to get the feel and the touch back. But looking at the wicket, what's good about Malik is the amount of pace he generates, bounced it into the surface, and I think there was a fraction more bounce than Roy expected, and then ended up just tickling it through to Pant. So important breakthrough for India. This is going to be a tough wicket to contain.
Yes, it looks like a belter, isn't it? And talking about Umran Malik as we wait for the New England batter to come in, it's been really, we say this very often now in India with the kind of folks who are breaking through the ranks and sort of breaking all kinds of ceilings. Umran Malik, father from the city of Jammu, used to sell vegetables, still does. And really Umran, right from a very young age apparently, was very keen on cricket, used to play tennis ball tournaments and win little cash prizes here and there, bowling quick. And his fortunes, I think, began to change a little when Irfan Pathan, the former India all-rounder, I'd say, got involved with Jammu and Kashmir cricket, Ebony, and he sort of had a good look at Umran, and he's worked with him along with a few others from the state, and that saw him come out and become a net bowler for the Ranji Trophy team for Jammu and Kashmir. And then when Natarajan got injured, SRH drafted him, Sunrisers Hyderabad drafted him in, and that's when they really saw. Warner was very impressed apparently as well with his speed, and here he is playing in India colours. Another terrific success story. And here's Salt now, one of the two changes in the squad, and he is ready to take strike. to Umran Malik, who's just picked up his second international wicket. Here he is now. Races in, comes in and bowls, and Salt drives him beautifully on the rise, straight past the bowler. Glorious way to start the innings. 4 runs, almost straight back past the bowler. No problem at all. 65 for 2.
That was 90 miles an hour. Your first ball, you're coming in to try and establish yourself, and literally bang, full face, just punch back. 90 miles an hour back past the bowler. Unbelievable.
Yeah, didn't really sort of try to hit it, just check drive, placed it perfectly, and it raced away, as it often does when Umran Malik's bowling. He is in again, bowls, and this one's wide and will be called so. Pant has to fling himself to his right to take it, does well. But that was quick again.
Well, the pace is up there. I guess it's an interesting one for Rohit Sharma here, isn't it? Because in the interview, he was talking about wanting to see these exciting players, wanting to think ahead. And I sense with him, they've just said, run in, charge in and do your thing. You'll find your radar, we'll work with you. But what is clear is that pace is up there.
Yeah, and he loves bowling fast. I mean, he's got the license, obviously, from his captain and the team. But that's what he's often said. He said, I just want to bowl fast. He's in, bowls. This one's a little bit in the air, but falls well short, and a really poor bit of fielding there. Might be Harshal Patel there at mid-off. Really should have done much better with that. And concedes a single. So 67 for 2, and Salt goes up to 5. Andy.
I mentioned that England's opener struggled in the first 2 games, and a couple of middling scores, 27 and 18 today, and all 53 runs from the openers in the 3 games, average 8.8, and that's the worst T20 international series or tournament that England's openers have ever had.
Wasn't sure whether they would have stuck with Roy or changed it up. Butler also out of form, but I think they mostly know the formula they want between now and then. I think they've got the players, they just want to get them firing and clicking, so actually dropping them maybe is counterproductive.
In comes Malik, round the wicket to Malan, and Malan cuts it, but straight to Suryakumar Yadav at back point, no run.
He's got a lot going on with his action, hasn't he, Malik? Like, it's a nice, don't get me wrong, it's a smooth action, it's very natural. But when he runs in, you see he sways a little bit in the run-up, and then he kind of gets side on, then there's a lot of movement.
Yeah, a lot of moving body parts.
A lot of moving body parts. But it actually looks natural and flowy, so it doesn't look, like Bumrah looks awkward, doesn't he? Things move at slightly different staccato ways. It's a bit more fluid.
Here he is again. Comes in and bowls, and this one's hooked by Malan. Didn't get all of it, but managed to place it well enough and wide of the man, Bishnoi, running round, and that'll be 4 runs to square leg. 71 for 2. Malan up to 16.
Well, that's good from Malan. Also, he will be conscious that at some stage the likes of Stokes and Bairstow and all those guys will be available. This is his opportunity to just try and cash in on a good score. If he can get that strike rate high, which is sometimes something that people are conscious of, then that will give him a chance to keep his name in the hat.
Absolutely, as Umran Malik turns and comes into bowl, running in from the far end. He's up, he bowls, and Malan defends on the offside. Of course, remember, you can watch highlights of this match on the BBC 2 and the BBC iPlayer from 11 p.m. tonight, or you can see video clips right now on the BBC Sport website and app. So go there and follow the cricket here as we are broadcasting on an absolutely glorious, maybe even a very hot afternoon at Trent Bridge, with England doing rather well in comparison to the first 2 games. Clearly 71 for 2 of 8 overs, Ebbs. They would be gunning for close to 200.
Yeah, look, I think 200's a minimum on this wicket, especially with that short leg side boundary as they're facing now. For us, we're looking at it's square leg at the moment, and that just means that, even if England think they post a good score, India can tactically target areas like that. So I think it's got to be, if they can get 200, 210 plus, just to give themselves a lot to work with.
Long on, deep mid-wicket and a man deep square. That's the deep field on the onside. It's chipped up into the onside by Salt, and they'll pick up a single on the offside. See what changes are going to be made for Malan. Almost the same field. Karthik moving back to the deep square, back to the square boundary. There's a man at mid-wicket on the fence and a long on. There's a long off and a man, Virat Kohli, going out to sweep a cover. Man at 45, backward point. In fact, a short square third, I'd say, a backward point and an extra cover That's the offside field. Jadeja to the left hand. Malan, who's gone big. And he's gone very big, way back into the second tier. And that's a humongous 6, 78 for 2. You got hold of that, didn't you, Ebony?
Well, the timing of this is unbelievable. It was right in the slot, to be fair. And also with the angle going across him, actually it worked in his favour, getting into that arc. Got down, not fully back knee on the fly, just into it with the body weight, and then just picked it up beautifully.
Yeah, lovely shot. And this is often the challenge with Jadeja, that when he travels in this format of the game, it's not easy to get that control back. And India today, of course, with just 5 bowlers, they don't have a 6th option. No Hardik Pandya today. Iyer being given an opportunity. And this is the second time the ball's going to be changed, or replaced rather, not changed, because it's disappeared into that stand. I'm not sure what and why that ball couldn't be recovered. The first one came down here, and as Agars mentioned in commentary, probably got stuck in those covers. But the umpires have found a replacement, and both umpires need to see it, apparently.
There's a lot going on here. Balls all over.
Oh, the ball's come back.
There's one gone that way, one come this way.
Well, a little bit of I think what happened was that ball that went into the stand did find its way back, and so this replacement ball's been returned, as it were. Flash and a drive outside the off stump, misses it, does Malan. It was fired in by Jadeja. Fairly quick, that. And he can bowl quickly. Jadeja in again, and this time driven. Elegantly driven. He's going to get runs here, 2 at least, because he's placed it very well. Kohli gets round and fields, but can't prevent the brace. 80 for 2 in the 9th for England. Malan now looking good on 24. And as you were saying, Ebony, he does need to sort of make a statement here. Jadeja bowled, and this one's cut uppishly. Makes a hash of it there again, Harshal Patel. I think the fielding coach will be making some copious notes about Harshal Patel today. 1 more to the total.
He didn't even react. He should have seen that coming early with the shape up of the shot, that square bat. And he didn't first of all pick it up, and then he didn't move forward, and then his body was all over the place.
Yes. Jadeja to Salt. Salt drives. Nice looking drive out towards long off. Shreyas Iyer will field a single. Will take the total up to 82, and that'll be the end of the 9th over. Yes, I think if there's one thing that I've noticed in this T20 series so far, is the quality of India's catching and ground fielding has been below par, but compared to the standards they've set for themselves. Andy.
It's on David Malan mentioned his recent decline in form. That's only his 3rd 6 in his last 11 innings. He only hit 2 in his previous 191 balls in those innings, having averaged a 6 every 19 balls prior to that in his career. So there was quite a lot of talk about his run rate, but actually his overall run rate in the mid-140s was very good. He had a few innings when he started slowing, accelerated. The problem recently is that he's not been getting past that initial phase.
Well, from his perspective, you would hope that he can, as Harshal Patel's been brought back into the attack. Now, this 1 over theory is something that India seem to have worked on quite a bit. We saw that in yesterday's game as well. And he's got 3 men deep on the onside, 2 on the off. And Harshal is in now to bowl to Salt. He's in, he bowls, and Salt chips it again on the bounce to long on for a single. Jadeja is the man who fields.
It's a tough call for, you look at these 2 players, and I say they would walk into a lot of international teams, but England, because of their dominance over so long, have that depth when it's been Roy or Bairstow or Stokes or Butler. And so actually, now that we're seeing a few players out of form, this is the chance that they've got. It's not often you see Jason Roy out of form, or Butler not quite cashing in, or all of those other players. So there's just a window.
Yeah, absolutely.
Make a name.
You have to grab the opportunity, the degree of internal competition. Harshal bowls, and this one's flicked away. Again, 1 bounce to Virat Kohli, fielding a deep backward square. And a single is all they'll get. 84 for 2. Rohit Sharma firmly in charge, and you can see that he is comfortable. He's very easy when it comes to T20 cricket, particularly. That's where he made his name, really, as a captain for Mumbai Indians. The most titles, and has sort of slipped into this groove very nicely. 14 T20 games undefeated, if my memory serves me right, as captain. Slower ball, he's bowled him! Get him in the air there, Harshal Patel. That's a trademark Harshal Patel delivery. The slow Yorker, a little bit a la Dwayne Bravo. And he just defeated the shot completely. 84 for 3, England lose salt.
Well, this is an excellent slower ball. Off cutter, but he bowls it very late actually, so it would have been harder to pick up. Missed it through the air, and then, well, an important wicket for India, just as we talked about maybe this partnership looking to establish itself. So Phil Stort, he goes for 8. England 84 for 3.
Yeah, I don't think he was expecting that, was he? Ebony, in fact, his eyes probably lit up as he saw that ball travelling towards him, and by the time he realised it was the slower one, he'd already played his shot.
Give credit, because sometimes some bowlers you see it almost a little bit telegraphed and you can see it come through. Obviously why I think Bumrah's is good is because he's got those very flexible wrists. It comes, but that came quite late in the delivery, so I think I can see why it would have foxed him. He was shaping up thinking it looked like it was coming out full, and then late into the ball he bowled that little tweaker. Smart delivery, making just a little bit
of impact here, Harshal Patel. In fact, that's the other question that I'd like to ask you. You've seen a bit of Harshal Patel, I'm sure, in the IPL and wherever. Now, his really go-to or his quality USP is this variety that he has. The slower ball, the slow bouncer, the front of the hand, the back of the hand, that kind of stuff. On Indian wickets, where the ball tends to grip a lot more, he's very effective. The World Cup's been played in Australia. How will that sort of impact or could impact someone like him?
Yeah. Look, I think especially in Australia, where you're going to get sometimes those hard wickets coming through, you're going to have batters coming at you, wanting to play those big shots, take you on. You do need that variety, that ability to fox. Even there, for example, what I liked about that was a little bit different to your traditional off-cutter. It came out a little bit late. They will still provide value. What I haven't really seen from him sometimes, which I do like on Australian wicket, is that hit the pitch hard kind of bowler. You know, the one that, Bumrah can do it at times, or we saw Potts in the Test match, that sort of bowler that can get that extra lift. I haven't seen that so much from him, and I don't know if he has that ability to drop one in. But I think that the skill sets of the slower ball, it will still provide value. It may not grip and turn a huge amount, but what he might get is still that variety that puts the back bowlers off. Does he have that? He's not really doesn't bang it in ever.
Well, he does.
Changer.
He does have that. He does have that ball, but of course not as heavy a ball as Hardik Pandya, for example. Hardik is probably the right kind ideal of bowler for that in the Indian squad. Here's Harshal Patel to the new man, Livingston. Livingston gives him the charge first ball, and then off his toes, just plays it down quietly to square leg for a single. 85 for 3.
We saw Livingston do that yesterday, didn't we? He came out and wanted to make his name quite quickly, shuffle down, move around the crease.
Just saw pictures of MS Dhoni and Ravi Shastri.
Is Dhoni here, is he?
Yes, MS is here, as he was at Birmingham too yesterday. In comes Harshal Patel to Malan. He's up, he bowls, and Malan eases it. They look for 2, and they should get those comfortably, unless Harshal, in which he does, gets to the ball quicker and make sure there's only a single. 86 for 3 with 1 ball off the 10th over to come up at the halfway stage. 86 for 3. England might feel just a little bit of a concern that they might have slowed down after the power play and the loss of those 2 wickets. Roy first and then Salt. Maybe just a little bump on the progress at which they were going along. Here's Livingston faces Harshal. Short bouncer, good delivery that. Just to prove your point, Ebony. And that marks the end of the 10th over. It's 86 for 3 now. Livingston is on 1. Malan is on 27. And how are you reading this game now, Ebbs? It's halfway stage, 86 for 3.
Yeah, I think I'd say it's still a beautiful wicket. It's a very good batting track. But England haven't fully capitalised. I think they got off to a solid start, I would say, in that power play. They would have maybe won another 5 or 10 more. I think that would have kind of justified. But these couple of quick wickets have actually just stemmed the flow. This final 10, they're really going to have to do a bit of work. So, Aggers.
Yes, it feels sort of 150, 160 at the moment, isn't it? They do need to lift it a little bit. And Bishnoi is going to carry on. Malan at least getting going here. 27 from 17 balls so far. Roy out for 27, Butler 18, Salt for 8. So Malan waits now as Bishnoi starts his third over. He's gone for 17 so far. It goes creeping in and bowls outside the off stump. Is that a wide? No. Oh, must have been quite close as Malan tried to cut that through the offside. So field-wise, deep square leg, deep mid-wicket and long on. And there's 3 inside the circle in the offside. There's a deep point and a long off as Bishnoi is still bowling over the wicket to the left-handed Malan. That's a wrong one that slides across him. Nicely bowled. Malan again wafts and misses. Couple of dots. 86 for 3. A little wrong on that. You could just see it coming out of the back of the hand. And he goes again, arms and legs waving around as he moves in and bowls another googly, but that's forced off the back foot, cracked away. The pressure on the fielder out there. He does very well actually to field that. He was hit hard and really skimmed across this very dry outfield. And he gets some applause for that as Akshar Patel out there. He seems to be quite a regular substitute. 88 for 3. Malan on 29. Bishnoi moves in, bowls to him, he sweeps hard. And for 4, it's a deep backward square leg. He did well there, got across in front of his stumps. Gave Bishnoi a full sight of them, but made very good contact with that sweep shot. And a welcome boundary for England, 92 for 3.
Well, Darren Malan clearly showing his intent, moving his feet around, prepared to open up that leg side by moving around the crease.
Now we've got a free hit because Bishnoi there also delivered a no ball. So this could go anywhere. 92 for 3. He can hit it wherever he likes. You can't change the field. Can't be out apart from run out. And Malan smears that into the leg side and plays a horrible shot. Off the bottom of the bat, the ball creeps outside the circle. All that effort and energy. The ball barely made it outside the ring. 94 for 3.
Yeah, he definitely nearly put a disc or two out there. Mistimed that.
It's a great example of why you shouldn't try and hit a cricket ball too hard. He just lost everything there, didn't he? It's a lot about timing and that's all. It's not just about thrashing it. That was an absolute haymaker. Anyway, he goes to 34. Livingston then on 1. Let's see if he can get set here. In the 11th over, Bishnoi's bowling to him and he goes back and works that away into the leg side for a single. I think Bishnoi bowls mainly googlies and wrong uns and you just need to skim them on. I haven't seen him bowl many actual leg spinners yet. 95 for 3. Same fill for Malan. 3 out on the leg side boundary. Little skippy start to Bishnoi. Then he goes creeping in, bowls outside the off stump, and that's hit high into the offside, putting pressure on Patel there, running round to his left, and again fields very well. Thinking about the third. Throw comes in up to the bowler's end, and they're just going to make it. Although a good throw, I think, might have finished Malan off there. It's not very far out on that boundary. Malan had his eye on that third, but couldn't quite get that throw right. 98 for 3. 11 overs gone. And Malan now on 37. Livingston for 2. And thank you to everyone who's written reminding me it's not Scarb Vegas. Of course, it's Scarbados.
Yeah, who said Scarb Vegas?
Well, I thought it might have been Scarb Vegas.
How did you get that?
Well, I just thought it might be.
Everyone knows it's Scarbados.
Did we?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. How do you know?
I've heard it since I was like 5. Come on, Aggers.
Do you go there on some holidays?
No, I don't. But I've been up there for a bit of cricket back in the day. The women used to play
I'm
up
going
there.
tonight and I'm very excited.
You're going to Scarbados. Well, you're going to turn into Scar Vegas, aren't you?
Scarbados.
Hit the casino. That's what you should do.
Yeah, I haven't been for years.
Sorry, Andy. You might have actually had some wisdom to offer.
I doubt it.
With the halfway score, 86 for 3, exactly what India were in the second match of this series last night in I've forgotten where we were, Edgbaston. But then
let's watch Jadeja coming off from the pavilion end, fires that one in. It's been clubbed for 4 by Malan, just in front of square, so beating the fielder on the offside boundary there. It picked his spot and hit it nicely. 100 up, 102 for 3.
So they were 86 for 3 at the halfway point, ended up 170 for 8, but England took 2 wickets in that 11th over. Chris Jordan, 2 wickets and 2 balls, which slowed the scoring rate down. England have not had that and now seem to be accelerating.
That was a shocker of a ball, by the way. It's quite wide, loose. They're now manoeuvring the field a bit, so if he...
Well, there's still 3 in the circle there. They've got that sort of cover, backward point, short third man as Jadeja bowls. That's gone. That's gone into the stands. And unhappily wasn't held, I don't think. Not the first attempt, anyway. Wasn't a bad effort for a crowd catch, that, but I think it was spilled. But fine shot from Milan. And that leg side boundary is so short, so tempting. Very brave this to bring Jadeja on from that end with Milan lining up that boundary.
Yeah, no turn. And Milan is just starting to find his range. It's a beautiful wicket. Ball's coming on. So he can really line that up.
Well, it's just in his arc, isn't it? Jadeja again moves in bowls to him, and that's through the offside once more. But a calmer stroke this time and finds a man coming in off the boundary, the big sun hat on. 109 for 3. Beautiful day. Really is stunning. Lots of blue sky, very high cloud. Aeroplane on its way into East Midlands. Up there in the distance, beyond the pavilion. 109 for 3. It's Jadeja. Round the wicket, bowls short, clubbed away. And the fielder will just get there. Tossing it in. Not a great one for punt to take. Nasty length there from Patel. 110 for 3. Livingston 3. Let's have a look at him. He's giving a lowish profile so far. No, he hasn't.
We saw him shuffle his feet on the first ball, but you normally see early signs.
Leaning on his bat still. Milan's on 48. Rohit Sharma has something to offer there. He's a very active captain. He's always running around and waving his arms and things. Jadeja bowling a reverse sweep from Milan, but doesn't make any contact. Well taken by Pant. He's got a helmet on. But he's very laid back, isn't he, Rohit Sharma? But as captain, actually, surprisingly active. Jadeja again bowls, and into the leg side it goes. There's a man coming in, can't get there. Tempted again by that short hit to deep mid-wicket. Milan probably fortunate, actually, they didn't get hold of that fully because he might have been caught. 111 for 3, 12 overs gone now. Livingston 3, and Milan has 49.
Just carrying on about Rohit Sharma, he gives quite a lot in the interviews. You know, sometimes you interview a captain and you before a game, you just get bit, right, done.
Yeah.
He definitely opens up, he seems very thoughtful, he's comfortable giving a lot, which I think it's a good indication of a very relaxed captain.
I've not interviewed him yet. I normally get put away by the Indian captain.
Is that because you come in with the killer questions?
No, I'm just quite polite. And Virat always go with a big swerve.
The big swerve.
Yeah, always. Perfect nice chat when we do interviews, very nice. But I think he always had a bit of an eye on me approaching. But no, I haven't interviewed Rohit yet. So he's a nice chatty.
Yeah, very chatty.
Oh,
gives you a fair bit, gives you his thinking.
He'll learn.
He'll learn, yeah.
He's been going a year, isn't he?
Yeah, he's waiting for you to come in.
Yeah, well, the captain soon clam up. Now, we've got Umran Malik, who I've loved watching. Quick, he's coming from our end this time, which is even more exciting. Setting off just from outside the circle. I think 92's been his quickest one registered so far. He's scuttling in the air. See, if I were a bowling coach, that's just that one area I'd work on. That little bit of run up there, and he lost it there. Those 4 or 5 paces before he lets go of the ball. It all looks a bit frantic and a bit frenzied. I think he could just smooth that run up out.
He curves a little bit in it as well.
Yeah, he's just got a little bit of work to do. He's only young, he's 22, but he's got some proper pace. But I think it's just his run up, his little bit of work. 111 for 3. Rushes in again, past the umpire, bowls. Oh, Yorker goes flying under Milan's bat. 90 miles an hour showing on there.
It's not. I haven't seen a consistent 90-mile-an-hour bowler for a while. Often you see the 87s, 88. He has hit a lot of 90-mile-an-hour balls.
He has. Carlos has a theory that the fuller balls show quicker on the speed gun than the shorter ones.
Goes through the air more, doesn't it?
Yeah. That was 90. It was a Yorker. Average speed getting on for 89 miles an hour, which is brisk enough. In he goes again, bowls, and Milan drives this time. A nice fluent stroke. Now that could put the fielder there under some pressure, running round. He just gets and throws the ball back again. That's not our friend Axer. He must have been replaced now. Milan's 50 comes up. We felt it was an important innings. And as he always does, Milan, he produces. Just some people are saying, oh, I'm not sure about Milan's place in the team. Well, he's got a 51 from 30 balls.
Well, excellent window for him. And he's done it with some style today. He'll want to, though, keep ticking that along. He's got the measure and the pace of the wicket. A couple of sixes in there as well.
Now the next one's short. It's heaved it away to long on. No one there. One bounce it goes for 4. Picking absolutely the right spot again there. As on that occasion, Umran dropped a little bit short, but I mean, there's some skill here to play this shot to a ball of about 90 miles an hour. It's just a short arm, really. Similar shot. One of my favourite innings of Milan I watched was him in Napier. He destroyed New Zealand in a T20 match there. Quite short, square on boundaries at that ground. You couldn't bowl to him. Just put everything square like that, almost off the front foot. Front foot pull to a ball of about 90 miles an hour. 117 for 3. Umran again, bowls. It's gone high. Where's that gone? That is an incredible shot. He's hit him for 6, high over extra cover. This is Umran Malik, who's bowling around 90 miles an hour, and he's lofted that over extra cover for 6. Now that is an absolutely remarkable shot. Doing it on the length, of course, just to be able to get underneath it. But that is class.
Absolute bosh out the stadium. He's just got the measure of the wicket. The timing's unbelievable. Uses that high back lift and then gets that arc through the line. Got offered a bit of width and capitalised. He enjoyed that.
Well, it's a brilliant shot. Really is. The length, just allowing him to get the bat through and underneath to get the elevation. Umran again, bowls a slower ball, flogged to mid-off. Rohit's there, doesn't attempt to throw as Malan takes a single. And Malan's doing it again. One or two people saying, it's 62 from 33 balls. You're poised, Andy. You've had him hand that microphone for about 5 minutes.
For the details, Milan's 50-30 balls, 2 sixes and 5 fours. He's since added another 6 and another 4. His 13th 50-plus score in T20 internationals, 100 amongst them. That was that innings in Napier when he moved from 50 to 120 balls.
It was incredible, that innings. It really was.
It's his first 50 in his last 11 innings in this format.
124 for 3. Umran moves in bowls, and now it's Livingston's turn to try and it's a misfield down there, but it's only actually not going to cost them anything. He's trying to put him into the stand there, over deep backward square leg. Didn't quite get hold of it. 125 for 3, and Malik's he's gone for 40 now from his 3 overs. It just shows that pace isn't always the answer in this form of cricket.
Yeah, I think that the challenge when you've got such a flat wicket, you either have to hit your mark to perfection or your change-ups have to be on it. And I think it's just felt like the quicker it's come at times, the quicker it's gone once you hit it in that sort of block hole region. Good for Milan, though. Nice to see he's come out with some intent.
And it'll give those selectors something to think about, because there is Bairstow and Stokes to come in. I mean, they'll pick a squad, I don't know, of 20 or something, won't they, eventually? But I wonder what they'll do in those T20s against South Africa. Whether they'll have those players back again. They won't have the injured ones, of course, but Stokes and Bairstow and Adil Rashid, whether they will be playing and how they slot in. Because there aren't many games, are there, to get everything in order for the World Cup.
It'll come thick and fast.
Oh, yes.
October, November.
Yes. 125 for 3. Livingston's on 4. And he's waiting now. The first ball of the over's heaved away.
Wow.
That's gone miles. I think it's gone out of the ground. Well, the fielder there just watched that sail over his head. And the umpire there is not waiting to see if they can get that back again. He's calling, I think, for the 4th umpire with his attaché case. What a shot this is.
Well, India got him this completely wrong. They just bowl in length at a nice juicy pace. And these two are cashing in. If these two stay together for a few overs, 200 comes back on the cards. It felt like 3 or 4 overs ago it was not on the cards, but now...
That has gone out of the ground, hasn't it?
It's gone.
Looking at the replay there, it's gone into the trees. Wow. Yeah.
You can't bowl that. You can't bowl that length where it just sits up. You either have to bang it in, or you got to get full, or change up the pace.
It's Avesh who'd let that one go, and he's getting a lecture now from Rohit Sharma.
Don't bowl it in the block hole.
If you try and avoid a length, it'd be really, really useful. Right. So the umpire's lobbed another ball out. How many is that today? That's 3 already. Well, you've lost a couple, and that's another one that's been lost. never find that one. That's gone into the road, I think. That just went miles. I saw Chris Gale hit one in there once. 131 for 3. Avesh again runs in willingly and bowls, and Livingston tries to repeat that shot, but in a fiddly sort of a way, working it behind square on the leg side. Back he comes for 2. Throw on the bounce to Pant. 133 for 3. Even moving on there, moving up a gear. It looked like they were floundering a little. The loss of Salt's wicket, but these two really kicking on now. Roy 27, Butler 18, Salt 8. It was 84 for 3 then. Here's Avesh, and he bowls, and he's mistimed this, trying to hit him down the ground. Inside edge to pad, and Avesh seizes the ball gratefully. And Livingston looks at the bottom of his bat there, a bit like a snooker cue requiring some chalk. Can't get that right. 133 for 3. He's on 12 from 8 balls. Milan 62 from 33. Projected score. It's a big one. If they get 197 at the current rate, we could see 200 here. Avesh again bowls, and Livingston cracks that hard off the back foot. Fielder there gets down in the favoured long barrier position, slings the ball back again. One more, 134 for 3.
It's the 50 partnership in 4 overs and 1 ball.
Take that.
You certainly would. In the 14th over, 134 for 3.
There's a lot of thinking going on here.
Well, there is. Rohit again is waving his arms around. Might be quite good as one of those traffic policemen you still see every now and then in various parts of the world directing traffic. There he goes, he's waving another one now up. And there's fiddling in that way. He does the full arm wave, and then the more dainty little sort of palm of the hand fiddly flick.
Well, he's going fuller. He's brought third and fine up into the ring, sent mid on, mid off back. Will he go for the flick?
Here comes Avesh and bowls, and he's set himself for that. He's hit it high though. He's got away with this. Managed to go running back to third man, and they'll get 2 as that trickles to within about a yard or so of the boundary. 136 for 3. The ball to go in the 14th over. He's trying to get him away into that leg side there. He's set himself with fine leg, third man up. Men all over the place at the moment, to be honest. There's a deep backward point. There's a man, sort of a deep gully, backward point, if you like, on the edge of the circle. Long on, long off. They're the key ones. Ravesh signalling there for fine leg to come round a bit inside the circle. In he comes, bowls to Milan, who sets himself and hits him into the mid-wicket area, and it goes over mid-wicket for 6. It's that short boundary, it's the Bairstow boundary, where he just destroyed New Zealand a couple of weeks ago, and it's that same boundary. It's such a tempting hit, and you'd have to be honest and say that I think on most normal sized grounds that would probably have been caught actually, with the fielder coming in, but not here at Trent Bridge, and it's why the batsmen go for those boundaries, and it's why you get high scores here on this particular ground, because it's a new stand there, and rather than being built on a curve, which would have allowed a longer boundary, it's been built straight and rather sort of planted, if you like, on that angle. And so parts of that boundary are really very short indeed. 142 for 3, 6 overs to go, and Deep comes back. Some good shots here.
Oh, it's a wonderful shot. We've seen some really good shots in the last few overs, especially David Malan, who hasn't scored a lot of runs this season. Was he under any pressure?
Yes, I think he was. Oh, it still might be, but yes, definitely. But it's typical of him. So people are saying, not sure about Milan. He plays in innings like this. Livingston on strike. Jadeja bowls to him, and he'll get a single. There's chopping the ball away off the back foot to Deep point. One more to India. To England. 143 for 3 in the 15th. Jadeja with his mop of hair, he sweeps it back, or he sort of flicks it back. Really, he uses the wind, such as there is, a little bit of a breeze to assist. And now he's waving to one of his colleagues there to move around a bit. Milan's on strike. They've got long on, deep mid-wicket, deep square leg, and the offside long off, an extra cover. He's got to get his length right here. In he goes, bowls, and he hasn't got his length right. That's a massive 6. Bouncing off the stand just below us. He had to really get that full, I think, with this field, but that was just a length.
Yeah, Jadeja hasn't got his length right today at all. It's been extremely expensive, and that's the problem with going in with only 5 bowling option. You don't have elbow room at all. And days like these, and this is what we were talking about before as well with Jadeja. If there's any criticism with Jadeja, that has to be about maybe his bowling. It's gone down just that tad bit.
Well, a lovely clean strike from Malan. He'll have his eye on 100 here. He's 76 from 36 balls. Looking around that leg side field, there's no one saving a single. Jadeja over the wicket, moves in bowls, and he's hammered that past him, just past his right hand. The fielder will be able to get here below us. Tossing it back in again, it's Shreyas there who throws it back in again. The 150 up for England. There's 5 overs to go, 10 over, and they get that 200.
Yeah, they look set to get that 200. Also, they've got 7 wickets in hand, so they're looking good.
Jadeja again bowls, Livingston on the back foot but misses. That's a wide. Jadeja just looked very pleased about that.
It's also very difficult as a bowler to figure out which line and length to bowl because of the dimension, as you mentioned.
Yeah. That boundary is really difficult in one-day cricket. And now, well, he set himself a reverse sweep and Jadeja saw him doing it, so he elected not to let the ball go, which is fair enough. 151 for 3, Livingston on 14. Jadeja pauses for a moment, Livingston's ready, and he goes off just 2 paces, and Livingston again misses a shot off the back foot.
Wow, how quick was that?
He wasn't far away from the off stump either.
Yeah.
64 miles per hour. Jadeja again. Round the wicket bowls. Oh, and again he gets past that outside edge. Again, I think we talked earlier about trying to hit a ball too hard, and you can actually disturb your balance and your shape, if you like, by trying to hit a ball too hard. And I think Livingston just did that there. 151 for 3. It goes to Jadeja again. Now he's got that away, but off the bottom part of the bat. It sounded nasty, that. Hard sound to the bat on the ball. 5 overs remain then. 152 for 3. The run rate's over 10, so they should get to 200 if they keep going. Livingston 15. Malan 77, on course for his second T20 International 100. Deeps of thoughts from you, and to take us up to the interval, it'll be Prakash Wakanka.
Thank you, Agus. Yeah, I mean, today the difference obviously being Bhuvneshwar not playing and Bumrah not playing and India not picking up those initial wickets. Yes, 3 wickets has fallen so far, but then, the bowling has been a little below par. Umran Malik, as exciting as he is, has leaked for runs, so has most of the others as well. And obviously, that swing from Bhuvneshwar that we've seen in the last couple of T20Is, we haven't seen that. Very one-dimensional, Prakash, this bowling attack.
Yeah.
Yes, you already, you do have someone like Umran who brings something different to the table, sheer pace, but then this pitch as well is not the quickest. So I don't know whether that kind of also helps the batters at times to kind of, use the pace of the bowler.
Well, this is one of the highest scoring grounds in world cricket, isn't it? I mean, we've had some really mammoth scores here in all forms. Here's Harshal Patel with the 16th over of the innings. He's up, he bowled, and this one didn't really get to him at all. He's ended up aiming it over sort of fine leg almost. And where does the ball end up? But wide mid-on. So maybe the toe end of the bat.
Yeah. With a slow bouncer, which obviously Liam Livingston didn't read, and he was way too early into that shot. The best bowler so far for India has been Harshal Patel, and that just tells you a story about the pitch and what kind of deliveries you need to bowl.
Avish bowled his first 2 overs rather well, went for 6th, and third one was expensive. Malan got into him. Here's Harshal again, bowls and beats him. Good delivery again.
Yeah, Yorker length. It's another slower one, and his variations are so good in terms of even the slower deliveries, the length variation. He already picked a wicket with that slower Yorker. This one again, another slower Yorker, beats the batter. The last one was a slower bouncer, so he has that control over length as well, which is so difficult for a bowler.
Yes, he has, and he's got deception on his side as well. It's not as if he telegraphs his plans, and that keeps the batter guessing a little bit. Here's Harshal to Liam Livingston bowled, and this time it's full and it's gone way over the boundary at long leg for 6, just missing his length there, and all that Livingston had to do was to get some bat, which he did. 160 for 3. England continue to plunder this Indian bowling attack at the moment.
Yeah, it was a bit of a free gift, isn't it? Full toss, knee high onto the leg stump. Attempted Yorker, conventional Yorker. Had the pace to work with as well, Liam Livingstone this time around, and does really well.
Yeah, he's had to put it away, which he did well. Here's Harshal again. In. Once again, another very poor delivery. Nice knee-high full toss, and it gets the full treatment. So back-to-back sixes as England motor along here. And these two shots might have just got Livingstone going, because by his standards, he wasn't timing the ball very well. But those two sixes have taken the score to 166 and taken Livingstone to 29.
Yeah, almost the same delivery as the last one. Knee-high full toss on the pads. Again, a Yorker attempted. The first couple of deliveries, both of them were slower deliveries, pace off, did really well. But last couple of balls, he really wanted to bowl a quick Yorker, has missed the length by quite a margin and has been punished.
Looks like we're going to need another replacement ball to be brought out.
Yeah.
As the case in T20 cricket now, given that it needs to be compressed and finished quickly, maybe for both umpires to carry a sort of a little pouch with some extra balls.
Yeah, maybe.
Because the rate at which balls are disappearing.
So they have in baseball, isn't it? The umpire behind the home plate has a pouch full of balls.
That's right. That's right. So if it isn't the softening of the red ball, it's the disappearance of the white. But balls are being replaced. And we've got another one. I've lost count. Maybe it's the 4th time in this innings so far.
And especially venues like these. High-scoring venues like these, there'll be quite a few sixes. You might as well.
Livingstone on 29. On strike to Harshal Patel. Can he come back strongly in this over? Bowls a harder into the pitch ball, and this time a swing and a miss. But the resultant bye will mean England continue to move on. 167 for 3. Last ball of the over coming up. This has been an expensive over from Harshal Patel, the most expensive of his spells so far.
Yeah, have to bowl Ravi Bishnoi 1 over, and obviously Umran Malik. India only with 5 bowling options. Yeah, this could be really, really a high-scoring game. Yeah.
Well, you would expect that, and I think England will want to ensure that they actually get beyond 200, and that seems very, very possible now. Maybe even up to 220. That'll really give them a solid total with which to put India under pressure. Here's Harshal Patel now into bowl, last ball of his over, and strikes him on the pad. They look for a run. If he hits, he could be out. He misses, as it turns out. Livingstone was down the track. Harshal Patel had the ball, had a good look at the stumps, but as it turned out, he missed. 16 gone, 167 for 3 England.
That looked close. That looked extremely close. A direct hit. Harshal Patel.
Tell you.
Full length dive. Yeah.
Would have been close for sure, but as it turned out, he missed the stumps. So score is now 167 for 3. 16 overs have been bowled. Livingstone is 29 of 18, and Malan playing just the kind of innings that his sort of chances to make a permanent place within the England team required. 77 of 38. Absolutely brilliant batting. How many 6s and 4s in that, Andy?
Milan's hit 5 6s and 6 4s. Livingston's hit 3 6s and no 4s so far. And the partnership is now 83 from 6.3 overs.
That's a terrific partnership, and this could be an eventful over here.
Yeah.
17th, often is. Bishnoi, first ball, and he looks to cut, does Livingstone. He's missed quite a few there.
Yeah, because he's trying to overhit at times. That's what Agis was talking about last over of Jadeja. He was trying to overhit because both these bowlers, Jadeja and Ravi Bishnoi, they bowl quick.
Yeah, and all he needs to do really is to beat those two infielders at the edge of the circle. Better off placing it maybe. Here's Bishnoi. Down the wicket he comes. Doesn't get too much on it. This could be trouble, but he makes his ground. The ball bouncing off on the onside. Pant has to run around, but the batsmen are quick between the stumps, and that will bring Malan on strike, which would have been one of the primary goals for Livingstone. He stays on 29. The total moves to 168 now for 3.
Yeah, well bowled Ravi Bishnoi, because he saw Liam Livingstone stepping out and dropped it short, followed him as well towards his body.
Now, where does he bowl to the absolutely hot, on fire?
He has to
David
bowl
Malan.
Fuller outside off stump, let him drive.
Bowls, gets, and this one's gone straight up. I don't think Pant has to move. Can he hold on to it? He does.
Yeah.
Well bowled, Ravi Bishnoi. He picks up the wicket of Malan. He moved across, did Malan, looked to sort of tonk it over mid-wicket, got a top edge, went miles up in the air, and Pant literally did not have to move. So Malan gone 168 for 4.
Yeah, exactly the length we were talking about. Fuller outside off stump, make the batter drive, but this time around went across, wanted to go over mid-wicket, slog sweep. It's so difficult actually, because he doesn't really bowl too many leg spins. It was more of the googly or the flipper, and this too was one of those. And David Malan, superb knock, excellent knock of 77 of just 39 comes to an end here.
Yeah, terrific innings by Malan, and he's being replaced by another left-hander, another very dangerous striker of a cricket ball, Moeen Ali. 168 for 4. 3 overs after this one, so 21 balls to come. Andy.
David Malan's final figure, 77 from 39 balls with 5 sixes and 6 fours, his 13th 50-plus score in T20s, his first in his last 11 innings, and his highest score since his last game of 2020 when he made an undefeated 99 in South Africa. So a great return to form. He'd only hit 2 sixes in his previous 10 innings and 5 today.
5 today. Well, that's welcome return to form and run scoring for David Malan, because he, I suspect, will be a very important part of the England squad, because they've got, like many other teams among the top 3 or 4, a wealth of riches, and fitting people in is always going to be a bit of a challenge. So you want everyone in form, really. Now, Livingstone facing Bishnoi. Bishnoi is up, bowls to Livingstone, who's got a quicker ball, doesn't time it at all, goes back deep in his crease, looking to hit it over mid-wicket, gets it away, only down to Karthik, who walks up from backward square to field. 169 for 4.
Yeah, it's been one of those innings from Liam Livingstone where he hasn't really timed it too well. He's got a few, obviously, boundaries and sixes, but then not really timed it. The last delivery was a great example of that. Was kind of a short pitch delivery, but again was trying to hit it too hard on the onside.
Here's Bishnoi now. Can he close out his spell well, or will find out? First ball, and Moeen's gone up in the air. Fielder getting underneath it. Oh, this is a big wicket for India. Ravi Bishnoi, first ball, Moeen Ali looking for a big hit down the ground. Again, looking probably a little bit across the line, and finds the outside edge. Balloons up at backward point, comfortably taken. England lose 2 in the over. 169 for 4. Moeen Ali is gone.
Yeah, I don't think there's the right option to go onside or slog sweep Ravi Bishnoi, because again, same reason, almost the same shot as David Malan, because he does not bowl leg spin. He bowls those googlies or flippers more often than not, top spinners which go on with the angle. So when you're going onside, slog sweeping, you're actually taking on the angle as well, which can be dangerous, which has been the case for Moeen Ali and David Malan before this. So yeah, Moeen gone without scoring.
Yes, and on this particular occasion, that wrong un did turn a little bit as well. So Moeen really had only the edge of the bat as the ball spun away from him. So he's gone, and 2 wickets in the over for Bishnoi, just pushing the England juggernaut back a little with 2 wickets. 5 now gone for 169. But they're still in a very good position and have the depth. Harry Brook is the new man in. He's over his bat, waits for Bishnoi. Bishnoi bowls, and Brook finds the fielder at backward point, Jadeja. And that's the end of a very good over, a successful one, and completing his spell. 4 overs, 2 for 30 for Bishnoi.
It's just 1 run off the bat from that. In fact, the last 8 balls have brought 3 runs, a leg by and a single, and 2 wickets.
It's the nature of T20, isn't it? How quickly things can change.
We saw it in the first T20I with India.
Yep.
When we were talking about almost the same scenario. We were talking about 200, 220 maybe, and then India ended up with 199.
198, I think. 199 to get for England.
But you know what's been interesting about Ravi Bishnoi is he's actually tried to bowl the leg spin. You know, this game, which he really doesn't bowl a lot. But this game, there were quite a few deliveries. He's tried to release the ball front of the hand rather than back of the hand, which comes naturally with that kind of an action that he's got. Delivers it past perpendicular, kind of head falls backwards. But then I think that's a good addition to his repertoire.
Avesh Khan will bowl the last over of his spell and the 18th of the England innings with Harry Brook on strike. He's yet to get off the mark. Brook waits for Avesh Khan. Avesh is in bowls and Brook has connected this very well, perfectly placing it. One bounce over the square leg boundary for 4. Poor delivery. Half tracker really, there was nothing on it, and all that Brook had to do was wait for it and put it away, which he did in style.
Yeah, a bit of a slower half tracker, slower, whatever you want to call it, bit of nothing, to be honest. Maybe trying what worked for Harshal in Harshal's last over, those slower, dug-in slower deliveries. But this time, enough time for Brook to kind of, dispatch it to the boundary easily.
Just another indication of how you've got to be adaptable, whether bat or ball. Here's Avesh Khan into Brook, bat raised, waits, gets inside the line. Avesh follows him, but he's able to manage it beautifully, and he sort of glides it away from in front of his toes down to third man with an open face. Reminded me there, Deep, of good old French cricket.
Absolutely.
He played that beautifully in the end, through that vacant slip area for 4 runs and a no ball to boot. So there will be a free hit coming up.
Oh, what a fabulous shot that is. He actually moved right across because the fine leg's inside the circles. He wanted to lap it over. Fine leg realized that it was outside off stump for him. And look at that. Wow. And he goes over third.
Very, very interesting shot indeed. Free hit. Avesh Khan up bowls and Brook has hit it hard, but he hasn't got the timing on it, so he will be caught, but of course he won't be out. And 2 runs will result from that stroke. So 180 now for 5. The first free hit of the series.
Oh, no, there was one earlier on.
was
Earlier
that?
on today, there was a no ball. I don't think you should be able to score runs off a free hit if you're caught. That
Is that
seems
right?
wrong. No, I'm saying I'm sorry.
I see where you're coming from.
I'd
Yep.
change that.
You've got
When
the
they
free
put me
hit.
in charge of cricket, Prakash. It's one of the
I
many things I'll
suspect
change.
you'll have to get in line, mate. Lots of people around for that, but a very valid point. Here's Avesh Khan into Brooks again. Brook again, and Brook plays it nicely out towards deep mid-wicket. Look for the second. Played it with soft hands, I'd say, deliberately, and made sure he has enough time to come back for the second. 182 for 5. He's raced up to 12 of 4 already.
Yeah, I can't get that shot out of my head. How did he manage to actually ramp it over third when he was actually moving right across, trying to play it on the other side of the ground?
And initially when I saw it, I thought it was a sort of instinctive reaction, but on the replay it was very clear that he actually saw where the ball was coming. He was following him, got inside and just opened the face of his bat. Really, really smart cricket by Brook there. Here's Avesh Khan into him again, bowls and hammered out. Didn't time it very well. There'll be a single as the fielder gets in there and fields. 183 for 5 now, and 2 balls to go in the 18th from Avesh Khan. He's gone for 37 so far. Went only for 6 in his first 2, so he's been taken for a few runs in his third and fourth over. 2 balls to come. Long distance communication between bowler and captain results in no change in the field. 3 men in the ring behind the bat, and he's slammed this one beautifully, got underneath it, sliced it, did Brook, and he finds the, I think, 9th row of the cover stand. Livingston there, sorry, not Brook, got underneath it and really timed it. Probably the best shot he's played so far today. Really timed it beautifully, got down on one knee and got himself 6 valuable runs.
Why this is such a great shot? Because obviously, Liam Livingstone is very strong on the onside, so that's the reason Avesh Khan bowled really wide outside off stump. But what a shot over point.
Yeah, just a bit too full on that occasion. Here he is, bowls, and slower ball will result in a single. Attempted pull shot not materializing, goes off the glove, I suspect, or will it be a leg bye? It is a leg bye. So 190 for 5, and that was another expensive over. 18 overs have now been bowled. Livingston's on 36, Brook is 13, and Avesh Khan finishes his spell
1 for 43 from 4, but yeah, 2 from the first 6 and then 37 from the last 2.
There you go. So 37 runs coming. Thank you, Andy. And that just shows you that you may start well, but you have to finish well.
Yeah, the skill sets are so different. The first few overs that you need to bowl, the first 6 and the last 4-5, the death overs as we call it, it's just totally different.
This is interesting. Harshal Patel going to bowl the 19th, which means Umran Malik will bowl. And
last.
that, I suppose, Deep, will give you the excuse not to predict a score in the innings, because Umran's been rather expensive. Here's Harshal Patel to Livingston. And he's pulled it. Has he found the man? Virat Kohli gets underneath it, drops it. Virat Kohli drops what would be construed as an absolute sitter. Came in too quickly. The momentum, can't seem to do anything right on a cricket field. Never thought I'd say that about Virat Kohli there, Deep.
Yeah, I mean, how rare is that? As you mentioned, I mean, it's not a tough catch. It's hit straight at him, overruns it, and he suddenly finds himself in a very, very awkward position.
Can't help but saying the enthusiasm, the momentum of running in, and as you said, just overrunning it and shells it. Next one pulled away. More work for Virat Kohli on the boundary there. He's grabbing round. He'll get there. Send the return in. Can't prevent 2 runs. So 193 now for 5. And Brook moves up to 15 in double quick time. He's just faced 6 balls. Harry Brook. He's looked good every time we've seen him.
Yeah, just looking at that catch again. I mean, it's again, you actually feel bad for Virat. I mean, these are stuff which actually can pull you down further. When you're not scoring runs, you're not in a great form with the bat, and these things, drop catches and all, doesn't help.
Harshal bowls, nice and full and beautifully played. Inside out, over extra cover. 4 runs, 1 bounce by Harry Brook, who's now gone up to 19 of 7. And England well on their way to posting a total which will be well in excess, I think, of 220. They're 197 for 5, and they still have, 9 balls to come. 9 legal deliveries, that is, assuming there are no wides and no balls. Harshal Patel has to try and find a way of keeping the runs down. Can he? Here he is, bowls. And a good delivery, that. Good bouncer. Cramped him for space, looking for the ramp, didn't connect. He's cross with himself, Brook, because if he got bat on ball there, Deep, that was 4 more.
And the shot was on. I mean, the ball, a quick bouncer with 3rd inside the circle. So you got 4 fielders on the onside, all of them boundary riders. If he has to try anything, it has to be really straight, where he has to make the batter play on the onside. Well, while we speak about it, change in the field, fine leg comes up and mid-off. Now, this is a much better field. Even if his Yorkers don't land properly, you have a little more protection now.
As long as they're directed properly, bowled. And this one's gone up in the air. Is someone going to get underneath? Fielder coming round, waits for it and takes it. Ravi Bishnoi, he's a very good fielder. As we all know, this was shot, dug in, and going for a big pull shot over square leg there. Harry Brook got more elevation than distance, and as a result, England lose their 6th. Again, the slower ball, running his fingers down the side there. Harshal Patel, and Brook falls. But he's parred England now, 197 for 6 with the fall of that wicket.
Yeah, the back of the hand slower, that actually gives a little more bounce. And Harry Brook, a cameo. Very well made 19 of just 9.
And that'll bring Chris Jordan to the crease. Again, someone who can hit a really long ball. And Harshal Patel will have to ensure that he ends his spell, ideally from his perspective, with a dot ball. A bit of a chat between Livingston and Jordan, who had crossed as the ball was in the air. And that will mean that Livingston will be on strike to Harshal Patel's last ball, and the last to the 19th. So mid-off comes back into the ring, and long leg drops back again onto the fence. 4 men in the ring on the offside. Harshal Patel to Livingston, shot, and he keeps it down this time deliberately, down to square leg, and Bishnoi does the fielding. So 19 gone now, 198 for 6. And Umran Malik with the task of bowling that final over. Big responsibility for the young man. Let's see how he shapes up. But this is the kind of pressure that he's going to have to learn to cope with.
Absolutely.
If he wants to have a career for India in international cricket.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, all these experiences will only help him because we do realize he's got something really special. Somebody who can bowl at almost 95 plus miles an hour consistently. That's so rare. But it's just that along with that, he also has to find his areas, which obviously in this game, well, having said that, this is a great pitch to bat on as well. But unfortunately, he hasn't found his line and length in this game, his rhythm in this game. And I also know that he's been working on a few things with his run-up and stuff. So maybe that also kind of, when you're not completely ready and used to a new thing.
Well, he's clearly a work in progress, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And from an Indian cricket perspective, he's a very exciting prospect. So where are the three men then in the deep, on the onside? Deep square, deep mid-wicket and long on wide ball. Clearly. Again, trying something different, falling away as he delivered that. And the umpire has no problem at all in spreading his hands wide. One more run to the total. England now have reached 199 with 6 balls to come. Legal ones, that is.
Yeah, what I'm seeing here is obviously he's changed his run-up a bit. It's a lot more angular than what I've saw of him in the last time.
Here's Malik in again. Bowls. Didn't get hold of it. It was hammered really powerfully. And a run will result. Good bit of fielding on the long off boundary. But a comfortable brace there. Jordan very, very quick between the stumps. And England's 200 comes up with that brace. 201.
That's England's highest score against India in T20 international cricket. Their 22nd game against them. Previously 200 for 6 in Durban in the 2007 World Cup, which I think must have been the game that
we remember that one.
That Yuvraj hit broad for 6 sixes.
Yes, that was the one. 201 for 6. So England notching up their highest total, as you just heard from Andy Zoltzman, against India in T20 cricket with 5 balls yet to come. So they are going to set themselves a new record. Some disturbance. Sorry, Andy.
Sorry, that 200 for 6 was in response to India's 218 for 4 in a group game in that World Cup. Yuvraj finished 58 off 14.
That was a crazy evening in Durban, that. Little hold up in play there. The umpire walking back just to make sure that whoever was in the line of sight of the batsman has been suitably informed. Looks like we're ready now. And Umran Malik waits for the umpire to get back to his position.
So with third and fine leg inside the circle, he has to be very, very straight with his line.
Malik is up bowls and it's squirted away. Will get fielded. I think Shreyas Iyer doing a good job on the deep backward square boundary. Ensures that he saves 2 runs. Good work. Shreyas has been good in the field today.
Yeah.
One of him and Jadeja, I'd say, the pick of the fielders.
Does really well to stop the boundary, to slide across.
Has he got rid of it?
Yes, he has, before his foot touches the cushions.
Just in time. Good work.
Yeah, but then again going back to that line, just drifting a little bit onto the pads. Got to be careful.
Right then, Umran Malik in again to bowl. And this is a good ball, very good ball. In the block hole there. Not much that anyone could do about it. Even Livingston couldn't. And they will run a leg by. 204 for 6 now.
Yeah, the Yorkers has been really good from him. And it's something that he's developed. In the IPL, didn't bowl too many Yorkers. Actually, did not bowl in the death overs. Most of the time, he would finish by the 16th. And didn't really bowl too many. Maybe just 1 over in the death. Yes, he was used very, very differently in the IPL. We actually don't tend to put that in right context. Very rarely he would bowl in the first 6 and the last 4.
Both of which he was exposed to today.
Yeah.
Here he is now, bowls to Jordan, who goes deep in his crease, and he squirted it away in a bit of a pedestrian effort at 45 by Avesh Khan. Wasn't expecting the ball to come to him, and before he could say Avesh, it had run away to the fine leg boundary for 4.
Yeah, I call that lemon cut. The inside edge was a good delivery. Full and fast, straight. Yeah, lucky there. Jordan gets a massive inside edge.
208 for 6 now. England will look to try and maximize the next 2 balls that they have. Avesh Khan comes back to the fine leg boundary, and long off comes into the circle. So that
Back of length, the hard length.
So here's Umran in, bowls. And he's gone over cover and he's going to get runs. 6 of them, as a matter of fact, as the ball just creeps over in the air, and Jordan manages to do exactly what the doctor ordered. 214 for 6 now. This is a very, very good total after that little bit of a stumble along the way as England were rocked by those 2 wickets quickly in that Ravi Bishnoi over, but continuing the positive mindset, Jordan hitting that one over the cover boundary. He's on 10 of 2 is Chris Jordan, as the last ball of this innings from Umran Malik, and they will get probably a couple as the fielder comes in. Jadeja's running in and might even succeed in running out Jordan, which I think he has. Very good throw again, and that means England will finish on 215 for 6.
Assuming that's run out.
I think so. The umpire
been given.
in fact give it out. Yeah.
That's England's 5th highest in T20s, 2nd highest at home, and as I said earlier, their highest against India.
So great batting effort by England after the relatively poorer batting performance, chasing, mind you. This time they won the toss, chose to bat first, and having chosen to bat, they've put on 215. Few more thoughts from Deep Dasgupta, and I'm handing over to Jonathan Agnew.
Right, thank you, Prakash. Yeah, India going in with quite a few changes here, especially in the bowling department. Avesh Khan, Umran Malik, Ravi Bishnoi, 3 changes in the bowling department. All 3 of them. Obviously, Avesh Khan did start well. The first couple of overs were really good, but then ended with 43 in his 4. Umran Malik, as exciting as he is, well, he's got to learn that pace is obviously is his strength, but at times you've got to also be careful. It could be also the batter's friend, that pace of his, which was in this case.
When would you use him? If you were captain of someone with that sort of pace but also inexperience, when would you be looking to use a bowler like that, do you think?
Obviously not in the batsman. New batsman.
Yeah.
I was a little surprised that he bowled the second. I would have actually bowled him the first over. Right, first over, straight up, 150, and no warm-up deliveries for him. First ball, it's not easy as a new batter coming in without facing a single ball. You just, like you said, 150 first ball, it's always going to be difficult. But also something that I would encourage him to do is develop a slower delivery. He doesn't have to develop too many variations, maybe one slower delivery. So if you can bowl at 150 and a slow can be around 120, we're talking about difference of 30 k's an hour. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
Even 130 a slower delivery. So you keep the batter guessing.
Yeah.
At this point in time, especially that spell in his second and third over, it just seemed like the batters were ready what length he's going to bowl, what pace he's going to bowl.
Yeah.
So once you get used to the pace, you can manage as a batter as well.
And a young, quick bowler like him in the international setup now, but would he have designs on playing Test cricket? Would he be there in the on
scheme of things? I hope so. I hope so, especially when you're talking about Australia.
Yes.
Where there's pace and it doesn't move around too much. You don't get swing there, and especially when the Kuka gets 20-25 overs old, nothing happens. That's where raw pace helps, and we've seen that in the past as well. Quick bowlers have benefited. India doesn't have the luxury of tall bowlers.
No.
There aren't too many tall Indian fast bowlers, but if you have that extra pace, that does help in especially conditions like Australia.
If you'd thought of the 70s, early 80s, there'd be an Indian bowler bowling at 92 miles an hour. It just didn't seem possible, did it?
No, I think the quickest for the longest time was Sri.
Yes, Srinath.
Srinath came in the 90s, early 90s.
Srinath?
No, Srinath. Javagal Srinath.
Yes.
First few years he was rapid. He was very quick. Obviously, then he had a shoulder. He was also tall and all. Then he had the shoulder injury. His pace came down a bit. But first few years, early 90s, Srinath was rapid. And after that, I think Zahir and that our generation came in.
Srishant was pretty sharp.
Srishant was, Srishant was up.
Fiery.
It was obviously got the ball to swing as well.
Yes.
With that pace, which is kind of rare as well.
Good stuff, Deep. Thank you very much. Let's just run through this card, shall we, before I have a chat with Carlos. England winning the toss and batting first for the first time in this 3-match series, and they have posted here 215 for 7, so India need 216 to win, obviously. Roy 27, Butler 18, David Malan made 77 from 39 balls, hit 6 fours and 5 sixes. Salt 8, and when he was out, England just seemed to be struggling a bit. They were 84 for 3 in the 10th over, but they really kicked on thanks to Malan, and then Livingston also 42 not out from 29 balls. He hit 4 sixes, didn't hit any fours actually in that time, but 4 sixes. Moeen was out first ball, and Harry Brook made 19, played some interesting shots in that time as well. Jordan run out for 11 there at the end, so 215 for 7. It's a run rate of getting on for 11 and over. Avesh Khan 1 for 43 from his 4, the old ball 4 overs. Umar Malik 1 for 56. Ravi Bishnoi, the wrist spinner, 2 for 30. So that's a pretty good effort from him. Ravi Jadeja, rather more expensive today, no wicket for 45. And Harshal Patel, 2 for 35 from his 4 overs. And he won't be long before they're out again. It's only a very short interval. Light roller going on that India have requested. Carlos is here. We talked very briefly, Carlos, about, I mean, you are a T20 World Cup winner. And who could ever forget that night in Calcutta, for goodness sake. But we're talking about sort of preparation and build-ups and so on, and here we are, we're not far out now, and England are, 3 matches away, really, from selecting their squad and getting things organised. I just seem to recall that actually, while we try and think of things being orderly and everything, done nice and correctly and so on, but actually the West Indies build-up to that tournament was a shambles, wasn't it? I mean, you holed up in Dubai, you hadn't got any kit from memory. I mean, there was a lot going on off the field, doesn't it? So you kind of wonder how important it is to be all nice and smooth and easy and so on, because you weren't that before that tournament.
Yeah, that's why you talk about the philosophy. What is the team philosophy? Ours was pretty stock standard. We knew that with our power in the back end, we could chase anything in the last 5 overs, even if it was 14, 15 and over. So our bowlers knew then we didn't have to be the most expressive. We could almost be kind of defensive with the ball, knowing that even if a team got 180, 190, we'll chase it. And I think this England team is probably slightly different. They go hard up top. They try to go hard throughout. And they need to see that from each and every person that gets an opportunity. Now, will that automatically mean that they win every game that they play between now and then? No. But that philosophy needs to be bred into the team, and I think it is, to be fair. Yeah. But for the Harry Brooks of the world, Phil Salts of the world, they need to come in and prove that they can upset the apple cart, as we say in the Caribbean, and prove that they can play the way that the team wants them to play and also perform that way as well. As we spoke about earlier, David Malan always has to prove that as well.
Always seems to.
And that's the strength in the squad depth. And when you look at our World Cup winning team, it seemed ages ago now, we knew all-rounders who could bowl medium pace and hit the ball hard was our strength. Jason Holder didn't even get a game in that tournament, but that was our strength. We knew that was our strength. So we had myself, Sammy, Bravo, Russell. Pollard was missing through injury and Jason Holder was on the bench. So we stacked up the way we knew best. And you see England doing similar. They have power players from 1 straight through to, Jordan coming at 8, 9 and get 11 off 3 balls, and that you never know if that could be different. So they need to continue to prove that this philosophy is the one that they want to take forward between now and the World Cup, because there will be hiccups in the World Cup. And if you don't believe in the way that you want to play, you can't be left wanting. As we saw in the last World Cup gone, you're just one bad game away from being knocked out. So I think this is the most important thing in these lead-up games. People in certain positions, playing certain roles, bedding into the team, bedding into the philosophy, and then when it comes time to the World Cup, everyone needs to be flexible, but everyone knows what the main role is with bat or with ball.
Yeah, and that's where the captain and coach, I guess, are so important, aren't they? Because, and you've had experience of that now, to get your players to actually believe in that philosophy. It's all very well the captain saying that, but actually, if I do get out and having a go or something, I might get dropped. But actually, to really trust you that that's the way you want to play, I'm going to go out and give it my go. To know that you actually mean what you say, that's quite an important bridge.
And funny enough, it looks bad that Butler's reign has started the way that it has following on from Morgan, but actually it may be better for his reign to start this way because he can keep hammering home the message. If they'd come and they'd won all 3 games, then won all 3 games against South Africa going into the World Cup without a hiccup, then all of a sudden when that loss comes in the World Cup, they start to think, does the messaging change? Like, how do we react? How do we respond? When actually in a loss, you learn more about the character, the leadership group. You learn more about the character, the players you're playing with. Is there any mourning? Is there actually, no, we didn't execute well, let's push on and do it again? And those are sort of messagings that I'm sure Josh Butler's not a man of many words, but leads by example. You see the way he comes out and plays. He will now have the opportunity, or the added opportunity, to come out and reinforce the message. Even though we've lost, this is how we want to play. And I think he'd be very pleased with what he saw with the back today, more so than the previous 2 games.
Yeah. And you're speaking to someone now whose shortest form of the game is 40 overs, okay? Back in the day. How do you know when you're in form or not? I mean, that's maybe a silly question, but, you know, as a batsman particularly, how do you know? I mean, if you're going in there in difficult situations, you're having to have a go, and you might get a quick 10 or something, or 12. How do you know that you're in any sort of form? When do you know when you've got to go do some real good practice and hard practice, and when you're actually seeing the ball all right? And is this just something that you feel?
Yeah, I
instinct?
think form is probably a myth.
You think?
Because you look at someone like Moeen Ali, Chris Jordan, Harry Brook coming in the last 5 overs, they could go 5 games batting 10 balls and probably getting a 20 here, a 15.
If they're lucky,
It don't mean that they're out of form.
No.
They probably just haven't had the opportunity. I think form is more so for the top 4 batters. So you can tell that Roy lacking a bit of, I'll probably say, rhythm.
Yeah.
More so than form. You can see that Roy lacking a bit of rhythm, lacking a bit of form. And then in a situation where you can see a top 4 struggling, then it's about the process. For me, my suggestion to Roy would be, you have the opportunity in the power play with only 2 men out, just play good cricket shots. He's a good cricketer, he's played Test cricket, he's scored ODI hundreds. Don't try to overhit it. And then once the rhythm comes back, then you see the swashbuckling Roy, that sort of thing. So I think it's very individual, and it's more about why the run's not coming at the time it is.
And maybe it's a couple of shots might just get you going again, get your rhythm going.
One misfield, one just the left or the right. Today he played so many good shots that went straight to the fielders. He just 1 ball or 2 balls away, going to the right or the left. All of a sudden he's 8 off 2 and feel like he's flowing again. Rhythm is back, and as we say, form is back again. So
really interesting. It's such a quick fire game, isn't it? We could play 60 balls if you wanted to soon.
60.
You gonna play?
Nah, I'll be watching it and I'll be as intrigued as you are.
I think Chris Gale's lurking around. Is he actually playing, or is he just the face of it?
He'll play. I think he's pulled out of CPL, but he's playing 60.
He'll play some shots, won't he?
He always does.
Cheers, Carlos. So 2-1-6 then for India to clean sweep this 3-match series. You'll see a good start, and they might well get there. We've got Rishabh Pant, but Rohit Sharma's on strike, and David Willey bowling the first ball. Left arm over, he bowls, and Rohit just leans casually into an off drive, sends the ball to Jordan's left at mid-off, and the Indian captain is away with a single. So it's 1 for no wicket, and 1 ball gone. So what's Pant going to do? You never quite know. It takes you by surprise.
And I think it's a good idea. It's a really good idea, because Rishabh, as good as he is...
You like him opening?
I really like him opening. Yeah. Because can you imagine, because like you mentioned, he has this ability to hit in this really unconventional areas and shots with only 2 fielders outside the 30-yard. It's very difficult to set a field for him.
There is a slip. Willie goes in, bowls to him, and he shuffles in defensive shot, wants a single. Rohit's not interested. And so a dot ball for David Willey, 1 for no wicket. I was interested listening to Jimmy Anderson, and he repeated it actually on the broadcast yesterday, that Pant gives you no indication of what he's going to do. When you're running into bowl, someone like Anderson saying, you watch, you look for any sort of slight movement or whatever. Is he going to charge? How's he going to play? Reverse sweep. Did you get nothing? You get no clue at all. In goes Willie, tall, left arm over, that's steered by Pant to backward point. Didn't quite find that gap there. He timed it nicely, but went straight to the fielder. Jason Roy is pretty pleased with that. He didn't have a great day in the field at Edgbaston, but he got hold of that one cleanly.
Yeah, with Rishabh, obviously, he's still trying to figure out his tempo and how to go about in this format. And he's been moved up and down the order as well. Batted at 3, 4, 5 and now opening.
But he gives a left-right at the top too, doesn't he? Which is always useful. Willie again moves in bowls trim. What's a nice ball. There's a bit of swing there. And Pant followed it. The ball went past the outside edge. So a little bit of gentle swing for David Willie. It's 1 for no wicket. The target's 216. Crowd's thinned out. Where's everyone gone? They must be having a bit of tea or something. As if half the crowd has suddenly evaporated.
Ice cream, I'm sure.
It feels like an ice cream day. But all there to the left, that's not half full. Here's Willie bowling, turned away by Pant into the leg side, running the first one quickly, thinking about the second. Sharma, no. Didn't like that, as the fielder was already coming in from the deep. Livingston, who played some beefy shots in his innings.
I might pop out for a ice lolly as well.
You got to find one?
Yeah.
You got to eat it quick.
Yeah, fair enough.
It'll be a nasty mess otherwise. Actually, people are dashing back. Look, it was such a short interval. Maybe it took people by surprise that it's only 10 minutes. So there's been slightly caught napping there, or queuing or something for whatever they need. 2 for no wicket. Sharma waits as Willie moves in a bowl strip. Again, that little bit of swing that cramped him there a little. And it's fielded by Roy. And that's the end of the first over, which is a good one. 2 for no wicket. The target 216. And nothing wrong with that at all from David Willie, who sweeps his hair back and pulls on a broad-brimmed blue sun hat. And Mo in their exchanges of word with him as he walks past.
Yeah, the length in that over was really good. That was a hard length.
If India are successful here, it will be the 7th highest successful chase in T20 internationals and India's highest. The highest ever, 244 by Australia against New Zealand. Followed by, just a couple of weeks ago, Bulgaria chasing down 243 to beat Serbia.
Nice one. Where was that?
That was in Sofia. So great win, the home crowd no doubt went mad. They have an opening batsman called Aravinda de Silva, Bulgaria.
Really? Well.
Could be the Arvind de Silva as well.
He might, yeah.
Quite old by now.
He would be. He's at my age, I think. A bit younger than me. So Reece Topley's bowling now. A massive swing from Pant. They're appealing for caught behind. He's been given out. Pant standing there. He hasn't reviewed this yet, but Topley went rushing through there. Again, a little bit of swing. A wild swipe from Pant. He must know if he's nicked it or not. Surely he's talking about his trousers there to Rohit Sharma. The burners are going off to my right, I can see, hanging around. Where's the timer? It's gone. 0. Too late, surely.
I think he's also asking about leg before or not.
Well, I think it's too late to review this.
Yeah.
He's got to go because the timer, certainly on my right here, had gone. So, well, that's a strange one. England were convinced he was out. Full ball, he's trying to smear him into Bairstow's stand. It's certainly a big deflection. England all went up, including wicketkeeper Butt. Let's have a look at this. He's swinging away. Oh, it's off his trousers.
Yeah.
Surely he felt that.
I'm sure he did, and that's the reason he went up to Rohit, was asking about leg before. And it'll be interesting to see what's the umpire given him. Has the umpire given him leg before or caught behind?
I don't know. There might be a quick word going to umpires here saying, mate, give him out LBW because he hasn't nicked that. Well, that's a strange one. In that that has clearly come off Pant's leg. I think he was given out for the catch, if I'm honest. Because the way that Topley went running through, he went to the keeper. He was certainly appealing for a catch. Pant should have reviewed it.
100%. Even leg before looked a little tricky, that one. Wasn't really leg before. Was it leaving or missing the leg stump?
Well,
I thought it was height as well.
That was a really bizarre one. We'll have a look at the height. But I don't think Topley was appealing for LBW. I think because you turn an appeal at the umpire, don't you, for leg before wicket. But he was running through to the keeper. Anyway, what a great start for England, albeit a slightly strange one.
Oh, no, there is.
Was there an edge there as well?
Yeah.
He hit both.
Yes. It was a faint inside edge.
Correct.
Yeah.
Inside edge into leg. So he is out. Fair enough. Inside edge, a very faint inside edge into his leg, and then caught by Butler. So there you go. He's out, and rightly so. Kohli's in now, and comes Topley, bowls, and Kohli's on the back foot, playing to point. And how's he going to go here? Fascinating. Number 3. Again, we talked about David Malan, and people talk about his place, but not nearly so much as they're talking about Kohli's. Strike rate 137. 99 matches, average 50. Pretty good in T20 cricket, isn't it? In comes Topley, bowls, and that's turned away by Kohli.
Yeah, you'll take it every day, isn't it? A 50 every game,
Well,
strike rate of
that just seems-
137.
I mean, that's an incredible average.
Yeah, what, that would be around, what, Andy, 40 ball 50 every game?
I think maybe even a little quicker than that.
Well,
Yeah.
you'll take that. I mean, I'll take it every day and twice on Sundays.
You would. There's that little faint inside edge. We can see it again there. It goes Topley again, bowls, and Rohit Sharma's forward, playing out to extra cover. Fielded there by Salt. Tall man with his shirt hanging out, and there's no run. 3 for 1 in the second over. Target 216. Good start for England. The punt out having a swing and caught behind, inside edge into leg. Quite unusual that, for it to actually carry to the keeper after it goes into your thigh. So you might think it's a little bit unlucky. Topley again, left arm over, and that's swung by Sharma but went nowhere. Just gently out to mid-wicket. And fielded by Malan. 3 for 1.
In the last game, the English bowlers in the first 6 were a little too full, I thought. In this game, they started off well, but with Rohit, or rather bowling to Rohit, gets a little tricky because he's so good off the back foot as well. Not really off the back foot, but playing that pull shot, horizontal bat shot. So that length becomes very tricky. Either if you're too full, he'll go over mid-off and mid-on, or if you're too short, or marginally short rather, he's so quick to pounce on it.
Rohit's broken his bat. So waiting here, I think, for a replacement to come. They never used to allow this, did they? You used to have to sort of use your colleague's bat until the end of the over, and then you could have yours replaced, because again it's taking time, isn't it? Someone's got to find all his bats and bring them down. It's money. It's only the ground floor here at Trent Bridge, but there's nothing going on. Oh, waiting for a replacement bat. But yeah, you did. You used to go up and borrow your colleague's bat. And, yeah, I suppose these days of marketing, it's got to be the right brand of a bat, because
Absolutely.
a photograph might appear of you carrying the wrong sort of bat.
Absolutely, yes. And also the bats are so different. I mean, Rohit's balance would be very different from Virat. Rohit might be playing with 2 grips. I think he does play with 2 grips. Rohit does not. So yeah, the bats are so different. They're so individual, those bats.
Our next live cricket tomorrow on 5 Sports Extra. That's the match we're going to in Scarbados, Yorkshire against Surrey. That's from 10:55. I'll be there, although I think I'll be in the lunch tent, if I'm honest, with two Yorkshire Knights. Andy, I'll let you mull over that. And that's followed by commentary on the first Women's One Day International between England and South Africa. That's from Northampton. And the highlights today on this game, BBC 2 and the iPlayer from 11 o'clock tonight. Scarbados with 2 Yorkshire Knights. 3 for 1. In comes Topley and bowls, and there's thumps into the pad, appeal for leg before wicket. Given not out by the umpire. 3 for 1.
Cricketing nights.
Ish.
Michael Parkinson.
Yes. The other one, therefore, is easy.
Boycott.
Correct. I know which end of the table I'll be sitting on. But it'll be a lovely day. There, the sun shining in Scarbados. So yes, we're watching that. Looking forward to that day up there. So the coverage of that, and then the Women's One Day International between England and South Africa in Northampton. That starts in the afternoon, I'm guessing, sort of 2:30. It's 2 o'clock, and Mel's here. She's jetted in from Australia. Mel Farrell, we haven't seen for ages. I know. Had the most enthusiastic welcome. Saw Mel in Adelaide. I think it was the first time in the Ashes. Fairly quiet street, with a little restaurant outside and a bar. And I appeared at the top. In comes David Willey, and bowls very full. That's dragged into the leg side by Kohli, and I had a lovely, almost length of the street running welcome from Mel, which took a bit by surprise, but it managed to hang on a bit like a rugby tackle, and it was lovely. So well done, Mel. It's lovely to see you again. And you'll be working with us, I hope, this summer. Are you doing bits and pieces, or you? Oh, she's up for work. She's up for, that's why I'm talking to the producer. Right. I wonder what was going on there. Right, well, fair enough. 3 for 1. In goes David Willey again. Bowls. Oh, it's gone high, way into the leg side. And the crowd will like that. It's just plopped to earth before going over the boundary for 4. That went way up. As Kohli there has hit Willie for 4. And that felt like the first boundary of this innings. It was. Coming in the 3rd over. Up go those flames again. Stand back if you've got one of those launchers near you, I'd advise.
Now, Virat would need a few of these boundaries here. Straight out of the middle of the bat. He loves playing off his hips. It wasn't really on the leg stump, but he's so good flicking and using his wrist. He would need a couple of those shots and those boundaries to make him feel more comfortable and confident.
Willie on his way, moves in, bowls. Oh, what a wonderful shot that is. Straight down the ground for 6. A bit of a skimmer as well. It wasn't a lofted one. It was just effortless. Out of the middle of the bat. And look at the Indian flags flying now all round the ground. This is what they've come to see. Yes, I like a bit of Rishabh Pant and everything else, but, you know, Kohli is still the man. Kohli is still the hero. He's not been in a great place for a while. But, you know, see a shot like that. Absolute class.
Majestic. Down the ground. Looks so good.
So, what's the field now? Well, leg side are the 2 men out. As Willie's on his way again, bowls to Kohli, and he's caught at cover. He's sliced a catch. He looks bitterly disappointed. He was hitting it so well. Trying to force off the back foot, and has given a very straightforward catch there into the offside. And Kohli's head has dropped. Jason Roy took the catch. It wasn't a difficult one, but England needed that. Get the bat speed from Kohli, but he's just picked out the man. And India therefore lose their 2nd wicket with 13 on the board. Kohli out for 11.
Yeah, just gave the charge Kohli again this time, but you know, David Willey was smart enough and aware enough to pitch it that bit short. He couldn't get the elevation that Virat wanted, neither the gap. I don't know what this is going to do to Virat. I mean, he hasn't really scored a lot of runs in the last 6-8 months.
He's getting out.
Yeah.
He looks very dejected. He's got his helmet off and he's just climbing up those pavilion steps.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was listening to your conversation with Carlos and, you know, form and everything else. I mean, that's a great example, right? Couple of shots out of the middle. You know you're hitting it well.
Beautiful shot down here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you know he's in good nick.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he's not getting those runs, those big ones.
It must be so frustrating.
Yeah.
Because to play that shot, the previous ball, beautifully timed. I mean, everything was right about it, wasn't it? It was just a lovely shot. So Yadav comes out at number 4. 13 for 2 India. They're struggling a bit here. And Willie's on his way. He's there and he bowls and Yadav works him into the leg side. A man comes up off the deep square leg boundary. And they amble through for 1 run. So Yadav off the mark first ball. And it's 14 for 2. And let's look at Kohli there getting out again, throwing his head back. And
yeah.
It's a shame. It's always difficult to see such a great player struggling. You know, it's...
That's the other thing. I mean, anyways, we'll have a chat after this.
Yeah, let's watch Willie again. Tall, fair-haired, he bowls a slightly slower ball. Sharma waits for that. Drives out to Roy again, fielding at cover.
When we say about struggling to score runs, but again, even in the test matches, he was looking good. The second innings, he was looking good.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he was fishing outside off stump, getting beaten. None of that was happening. And I guess it's one of those things, right? When things aren't going right for you, you make one mistake and you pay for it. And when things are going right and you know, those edges and all, they don't carry or they go into the gap. Unfortunately for Virat, it's just finding the fielders more often than he would like to.
And then you're testing his appetite, aren't you? And to see if it does he keep going in this, or you know, can he dig deep and get himself back again and work hard and want to do it, or does he keep playing his Test cricket and let this one go? I guess that's the question. Now we've got Richard Gleeson then, who has such a dramatic debut. Tremendous start. But he's coming on from the pavilion end, 14 for 2. The 4th over, up he comes, bowls, and that's flicked away effortlessly by Yadav. But straight to the fielder there at mid-wicket, Phil Salt. And there is no run. So 14 for 2. We're in the fourth over. India behind at the moment, but they just need a partnership here to get going. Got plenty of batting to come.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Indian batters play Gleeson now that they know what he's got to offer.
Yeah.
It's a bit of an unknown commodity in the last game.
Here comes Gleeson then. He bowls, and there's quite a thick leading edge there, but Yadav takes a single out to cover. 15 for 2 in the fourth over. Target 216. Beautiful sunshine. People still dashing back to their seats over there. Mine is filled up pretty quickly. And actually looking in that stand now, you can just see all the fanning going on. There are those 4s and 6s, those cards that you get given when you come in. Well, they're being employed there, especially on the top deck. Lots of fanning going on there, trying to keep some air going. In goes Gleeson and bowls, pulled by Rohit Sharma into the offside. And 1 run taken there. It's fielded by Brook.
And talking about the stands here are so wide. It must be difficult for the fielders to pick the ball off that background, especially white ball cricket I'm talking about.
Yep. All these white seas. It's very bright, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very bright. Lovely ground. They've developed it so cleverly here. So I just wonder if on another day they might have had a bit more of a bend on that stand over there to try and keep that boundary from being quite so small. Gleeson bowls on the off stump, nicely timed, but forced out to cover. 16 for 2. And Yadav, there's a bit of gardening there, tapping away at this straw-coloured pitch. If you're just joining us, the highlight of England's innings, David Malan 77 from 39 balls. He hit 5 sixes, and Liam Livingstone hit 4 in his 42 not out. They were the main scorers. Brook got 19. So 215 for 7, a good score. Gleeson again runs up, bowls outside the off stump. There's that little bit of bounce that he gets. He is quite nippy. And the ball does zip off the pitch from that sort of a length, just short of a length. We saw it at Edgbaston. Just get it to go through. It just held its own, that. It was said at Edgbaston, he's got this slightly sort of droopy left arm. All the coaching manuals tell you to get that left arm up and so on. But actually, it's a bit like Wasim Akram. His left arm falls away, in Wasim's case is right, which I think just skids his action through a little bit. Certainly there, that did nip. 16 for 2. Up he comes again and bowls, and that's driven in the air, but for 4. Safe through the offside. A couple of fielders there, but it pierced the gap perfectly. 4 to Yadav. And India at the end of the fourth over are 20 for 2. Surya Kumar Yadav on 6. And Rohit Sharma is on 2.
Do you reckon that was an attempted Yorker?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was quite full, wasn't he? He played it well, though. Played it very well.
The other thing which I really like about Gleeson is how close he gets to the stumps. He gets really close to the stumps. Obviously, he's tall and he's got a high arm release as well.
Reece Topley's back then, bowling his left arm over, but from this end this time. Bearded, very tall. And he's going to bowl to Rohit Sharma, who's faced 7 balls for his 2. And in goes Topley, bowls, and that's enough from Rohit, Stepping away, driving over cover. Couldn't tie him down for long. He's got to get a bit of a wiggle on here. And that was beautifully timed, deliberately hit over the head of the fielder and into the extra cover boundary for 4 runs.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what we were talking about, right? Too full, and he's going to go over mid-off for covers. And now he's got 2 fielders on the onside, right? 2 boundary riders. I wonder if he can get one on the offside and bowl a different line to him.
Topley again cruises in, and Sharma charges in. Wants a quick single. They'll get it as well. Jordan's throw hit the stumps. Beautiful throw from 30 yards, which hit the stumps direct, but Rohit Sharma was in his ground. Nice work though from Jordan, who is a brilliant fielder. 25 for 2.
That's good running. Had to hustle Rohit. It's not the quickest between wickets, but he does well here. Quick early call, makes it comfortably.
Yeah. His partner followed immediately. Fine leg, deep square leg. The other men out, still in the power play. 25 for 2. Topley looks around. And, moves in again. Shortish strides for a tall man. Bowls down the leg side, and that'll be a wide. Topley looks disgusted or dismayed, one of the two.
Butler thinks there was a nick.
Or hits the pad. I think he might have thought he hit the pad, did he? Oh, that's what Topley's saying. Well, it's been signalled a wide. And you
Can't change that.
You can't review this unless you appeal for a catch. What do you appeal? Say you appeal for a catch to the third umpire. The umpire gives it not out. Go to the third umpire. You see it's hit his leg. Can the third umpire overturn the wide?
No, I don't think he can. No.
That would be the way to get round it, wouldn't it? You'd lose a review, though. Topley again bowls. That's a thick edge. Runs down to deep gully. A bit of uncertainty there with the running, but Rohit actually was happy. It was Yadav who hesitated for a moment. Yeah, so you'd lose your review, but if the third umpire did his stuff and said, "Listen, mate, that's actually hit his leg. It shouldn't be a wide."
No, that doesn't happen. That can't happen.
Feels like it should happen.
It feels like it should happen.
Logically speaking, yes, but according to the rules, the umpires can't get in the third umpire.
Topley, and that's beautifully played by Rohit. With fine leg up on the edge of the circle, he knew he was there, and he's flicked that away. Those wrists sending the ball high over fine leg and down into that fine leg boundary. Terrific shot this, it really is. Look how hard he's worked. He's actually had to take his bottom hand off the bat and able to get it round.
You know, Angus, seriously, I mean, that side, that square leg, is the shortest, right? So why do you want the bowler to bowl that line to him?
I'm not sure you do, but he's tried another one there. That's a slower ball. And a paddle sweep there from Sharma.
But then if you have two fielders on the onside, both the deep fielders on the onside, I would say just pick one of them, the deep mid-wicket or the deep square leg, one of them, and put him up here. Maybe long off or something. Then encourage him to bowl a little outside off stump, not bowl as straight as he is right now.
Well, he's still up. There's a square leg out as Topley goes in, bowls, and he's hit that out towards deep mid-wicket. There's a man there who takes the catch. Absolutely holed out perfectly. He hardly had to move. And Topley takes a second wicket. It's the end of Rohit Sharma, who was just starting to play some good shots there. A little bit bogged down, though, 11 from 12 balls. And England pick up their third wicket, and he's absolutely picked out deep mid-wicket. It's a tempting boundary out there, and the batsman trying to take it on. But even though it's short, you've still got to make good contact with it. And that's comfortably taken. Some tattoos on those arms. And Topley takes his second wicket. India 31 for 3, 5 overs gone. And more from you, Deep, and Prakash will come here.
Yeah, India a bit of a hole, 31 for 3, chasing down 215. Looks really, really in big trouble now. Even though India's got a fair bit of batting. Shreyas Iyer, who's playing in this game, he's been in good form. Not too many runs against South Africa though in that series, but before that, he was absolutely brilliant against West Indies and especially Sri Lanka at home.
Yeah, Shreyas Iyer coming in with a job to do. Suryakumar Yadav, the batter, he's joining. But England right now all over this. They're in complete control, and it's almost a sort of replica of that first game. India got 199, England lost 3 odd wickets within the power play. It's the same kind of situation here, just the tables have been turned. And I wonder if it's that age-old thing, Deep, of runs on the board.
Definitely yes, and anything around the 200 or 200 plus, like it is in this case, always going to put pressure on the batting unit.
Gleeson to Surya Kumar comes in, bowls, and it's pushed away on the offside, smartly fielded. England absolutely on the money right now, can't do anything wrong. Have to ask you, Virat Kohli, 10 runs of 2 balls and then out.
That's what we were talking about as well. Those 2 deliveries, those 2 boundaries, he looks so good.
Okay, here's a provocative question.
Yeah.
Would you classify that attempted third shot, and you can give me your response after this delivery, touch of arrogance there? Here's Gleeson into Yadav and he flashes and misses.
Touch of arrogance? No, I don't think I would categorize as that. I think the shot was kind of on. Left arm seamer, covers mid-off inside the circle. You use the angle and try and get it over 30 yards, because the idea was to just clear 30 yards. That's about it, not to hit a 6 or whatever. The idea is to get it over the 30-yard circle, and you've got runs there. And I think the shot was on, not really executed that well.
There we are, 31 for 3, India chasing 216. Gleeson in bowls, and nice and full, whipped away, but straight to the fielder at mid-on. There will be no run. So India struggling at 31 for 3 in the 6th over. It's going to need a Herculean effort from someone. A couple of them will have to play innings similar to Malan's, really, if India have any chance in this game.
True. And England bowling has been spot on.
They've
so
bowled
far.
very well so far, haven't they? Both the left arm seamers have been very good at the top, and now Gleeson continuing the good work. Here he is in again. Bowls nice and full. Leg by will accrue as Butler fields from behind the wickets. There hasn't been a run off the bat in this over, has there, Andy? So really, really good over. 4 deliveries already.
Yeah, the Indian batting is looking a little flat as well, isn't it? I don't know. Could be the game from yesterday and back-to-back games.
Well, England played too.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
The required run rate at the start of the chase was 10.8 and over. It's already up to 12.7. Not updated from that last ball, so it's gone up even a little more than that.
Maybe 12.916 or something like that.
Let's go with that, shall we, Prakash?
That's right, thank you. 32 for 3. But well ahead of 12 in any event. Here's Gleeson in bowls, and it's pushed away on the onside. They will be able to complete a tight single. Shreyas Iyer moves across, taps it away. 33 for 3.
Yeah, Shreyas Iyer. A big test again for Shreyas Iyer because of the way...
When is the short ball coming, Deep?
Exactly. And the way he's been getting out of late. Across formats, that is. Not just about any particular format. So, yeah, the opposition's definitely aware of it. I'm sure he's aware of it. Now, has he worked that out?
Last ball of the power play from Gleeson to Surya Kumar. He's in. He bowls to Surya, who pushes on the offside. They'll take another run to the fielder coming in from the edge of the circle. England won't mind this at all. Because singles are not going to hurt them. The power play is completed. India 34 for 3 compared to the 2 excellent power plays that India had when they batted first. England also had a very good power play when they batted first in this particular game. So England have all the trump cards in their hand at the moment. They're in full control of this game.
Oh yeah, Surya Kumar Yadav is known to really plan his innings well. It'll be interesting to see what is he thinking of. What is the plan with Surya? Is he looking at spinners coming on and bowling and kind of using those overs?
It's only Moeen if and
True.
when he bowls, because there's no Parkinson today.
No, they might use Livingston a bit more, I guess.
You think?
But he's been quite expensive so far in the series. The 2 power plays India had batting first were 66 for 2 and 61 for 1, as you said, 34 for 3 today. Just on Kohli, that innings today took his average down to 50.1 in T20 internationals. He's now just behind Mohammad Rizwan amongst the best averages of players who've played at least 25 innings in the format. But he's not played a lot for India since the World Cup before this series. He'd only played 2 of the 16 games India had played since last year's World Cup.
Well, he's sort of borderline now, really, I think, as far as the T20 World Cup is concerned. Willie is up, bowls, driven square of the wicket and placed beautifully by Surya Kumar Yadav. He really is a remarkable player when he's on song. Both sides of the wicket, his wrists seem to come into play and deliver.
Very risky, very risky. This time as well, even though it was on the offside, but opened the face of the bat, made sure that it's between the point and a deep point fielder. And sorry.
Willie in again. Bowls, and this time he's played the lap beautifully for 6 over that short boundary. Very, very good. 10 runs with the first 2 balls. India moved to 44 and Surya up to 18.
It's almost the same delivery. Full outside off. Last delivery, he played it through point, and this time around goes right across. and almost kind of flicks it. Half sweep, half flick over square leg, which is the shortest part of this ground.
How will Willie respond? The last time he went for 10 of 2 balls, he had a wicket of the third one.
Right, he's responded with change in the field though.
Man going back at deep backward square onto the fence. He's up to bowl, and Surya pushes it into the mid-wicket region. They'll take a single to Gleeson, I think it is, or who comes in off the boundary and fields. 45 for 3 now.
Yeah, that's a better length. Just back of length, a hard one. Last couple of deliveries were a little fuller. And
Yeah, didn't give him the room really.
Exactly.
To maneuver the ball.
And that's what England really did well in the last game as well. After the first 6, found the right length, hitting it hard.
Iyer now on strike. Willie up bowls. He gets an inside edge, looking to drive away from his body, and that, I think, Deep was a proper lemon cut. Got him a single.
So the one before I mentioned, Chris Jordan one, wasn't a proper one?
No.
What was so different?
Because in this case, the batsman executed it. In that one, it happened.
Oh, he actually played this one, you reckon?
That's right. 46 for 3 in the 7th. Shreyas Iyer is 2, Suryakumar Yadav 19. Here's Willie again. Nice, easy, relaxed run up to the wicket, and nicely played by Surya, but he'll get just a single to the man coming off the deep mid-wicket boundary. This is good. This is a good comeback by Willie, having been hit for 10 of the first 2 balls. 6.5 overs have now been bowled. It's 47 for 3.
Just on Kohli, his broad, so his international T20 form hasn't really suffered, but he's not really played a lot in the last couple of years, when his form in the IPL has really dropped off significantly. His last 2 IPL seasons.
Yes, his form's dropped across all formats really. Here's Willie in bowls, and this one's a slower delivery. It's pushed away nicely. They think about a second, will they? Surya calls him through and they come back. This is great running. Very, very good running. Played with soft hands, placed it properly, and helps himself to a brace. So 49 for 3 at the end of 7 overs, with Surya on 20 and Shreyas Iyer on 4.
Yeah, but Kohli's last 2 IPL seasons, this year averaged just 22, a strike rate of 116. Previous season averaged 29, strike rate 119. And previous seasons, he'd mostly averaged at least sort of 40 plus. Way back in 2016, his peak year, 81 with 4 centuries and 7 50s. So he'd been very consistent over a number of years, but the last couple of seasons in the IPL, his form has dropped, as we've seen in international cricket across the 3 formats.
Indeed it has, Andy, and I've often wondered, as Ebony replaces Deep alongside me, that when great athletes in whichever sport they may be set such a high standard very early in their career, are they sort of using, to use a theory from management, using up a lot of their resources and delivering everything so much front-ended that the expectations then for the latter half are so high that they themselves can't keep up? We're going to ask you that, and you'll respond to that, I'm sure, Ebony, after this delivery, as Jordan starts a fresh over, a first over of his spell. In fact, run down to point for a single. 50 comes up for India.
Prakash, I love you, but you're going to have to rephrase that question. I didn't know what you were talking about. Front end, back end, I don't know. What, right. Say what you're saying.
Let me try and find a simpler way. If an athlete, let's say a batter, sets such a high standard so early in their career, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously they're using up their skill and their talent and all of that. And then as a result of that, 2 things are happening. One, the expectations from everybody and their uncle are high up. And what might be considered by many as reasonable is simply not good enough. And then for the pressure to do even better. Is that something that plays on top sports people's minds? We will get your thoughts on that. And I hope this one was clear. Here's Jordan in to bowl. Shreyas Iyer on strike, bowls, and Iyer is working it away, but not for runs. No run. 50 for 3.
The good news is, personally, I never had to deal with that problem as an average athlete. But on a serious note, I get what you're saying. I think there's 2 sides to it. So one, I think if you perform early, I remember having a conversation with Alistair Cook about this actually. Oh no, it's Jonathan Trott. Sorry. If you perform early, what it does do is give you space, because most things that athletes are worried about getting dropped and all these sort of stuff. So it gives you a run. People then back you. You get the support. You get the excitement. You get the that little run that you want as a dream athlete.
Jordan to Shreyas Iyer, who's slapping this one down to the man at third man for a single. Go on.
Yeah, and I guess there's then, so that you get the benefits of performing early,
Yeah.
you get the support behind you. I think the other side, though, is one of the most important things as an athlete is learning how to lose and bounce back. So some people work it out themselves, some have a go-to mentor that's the right person that knows how to switch them on. And I think that the challenge then is the pressure is now so high, and if you haven't worked out what your click is, actually it's quite a hard place to come from when everything was easy, everything was flowing, runs were really bouncing back. I think the most important thing.
Chris Jordan into Suryakumar Yadav bowls, and Yadav goes up and over the covers for a lovely, lovely shot that hit it on the rise, timed it beautifully. Again, wrists coming into play. 55 for 3. Lovely shot.
This is such a good wicket that you can afford to just hang back and get value for runs on length. That one just sat up for Suryakumar. Yeah, just having a look here. Jordan, good pace, 88 miles an hour, but it was on a length and he could just stand and get the hands up and over the length.
Great eye Suryakumar Yadav has. He's got a job to do if India are to make any sort of a competitive total here, chasing 216. 55 for 3 in the 8th over. As some more changes to the field. Man going out at long on. Third coming into the 30-yard circle now. And Jordan, in his first over, comes in back to bowl to Surya bowls, and this one's worked away fine on the onside. Man there is Topley. There'll be a single. 56 for 3.
Yeah, so just going back to your point, I think the key thing is actually having a good ability to bounce back. So actually, I think if you failed early on in your career, you've basically learnt a bit. Maybe you come back to the side after a tough start. You look at someone like Graham Swan, for example, as a spinner, and how well he went late on his career. But he had a tough start. He had to learn, go back and grind. So by the time he came back, he had everything in order and mostly had a good skill set of how to get himself to that point. And I think sometimes it goes the other way for some players. The flow comes early on and then struggles a bit later on.
Shreyas Iyer on 5, waits for Jordan bowls, and he drives but straight to mid-on and times it rather well, so he won't get a run. That's the end of the 8th over. It's 56 for 3, chasing 216. Looks the target really, really far away at the moment.
Yeah, I was just going to add as well, mentors and coaches are so valuable, and sometimes it's not for technical advice, but it's just getting that little thing. And I don't, you look at someone like Virat Kohli at the moment who is struggling. I don't know who his go-to is, whether he has the right person within the squad. Maybe he had a childhood coach that got him going, whatever. Sometimes it's a family member. Whatever you sometimes need is not to hear too many voices when the pressure's up, and just drill back to someone who can keep it simple and connect to you. And you can't understate that as an athlete. Actually, I think we never talk about, you always talk about the athlete, how good they are, the 100 they scored. You sometimes forget the team behind them.
Very true. Change in bowling. Spin for the first time. There's no Parkinson in the squad today, so Livingston is going to be introduced into the attack. An economy rate of just over 7.5 runs, a best of 2 for 15, and he is going to operate with a man at sweeper cover and long off on the offside, long on deep mid wicket and deep square leg. He goes in bowls first ball. It's chopped away, beats the diving man at point and races away to the boundary for 4. That was another lovely shot by Suryakumar Yadav. Boy, he times the ball well, this guy.
Yeah, going nicely, 30, very quickly. And this one, he just sort of stays on the front foot but plays it so late, drills it into the ground that Moeen Ali had zero chance of stopping that.
The thing with Suryakumar is that he times the ball really, really well. He does play some big shots, but it doesn't seem like he's using brute force. Livingston bowls better ball this time. Defended on the offside, think about a run, then decide not to, and just as well. Iyer wasn't interested. 13.37 the asking rate. Really, really big ask here. But I think Shreyas Iyer has an opportunity. Down the leg side, he goes inside out on the onside. That little paddle shot, which is one of his trademark strokes, And the beauty of it, as it races away for 4 ebbs, is that he can play it from anywhere outside the off stump, obviously all the way down to where he just played this one off his pads.
Yeah,
Lovely
quite
shot.
smart here, because this is the short boundary. If India are going to catch up with this run rate, he's going to have to use that strength. He's used it perfectly there, just opened up that leg side.
64 for 3 now, and Surya's moved on to 34.
Yeah, there's still someone there, but there's enough of an angle.
Here's Livingston. Faster down the leg side, will be called wide. It is. And of course the standard appeal came up the moment the ball goes down the leg side. Try and see if they can distract the umpire long enough. Wasn't to be, so one more to the total. 65 for 3. Here's Livingston again, bowls, and Yadav drives very firmly on the onside and beats Jason Roy. What a bit of timing that was. Unbelievably well timed for 4. 69 for 3.
In some ways, you'll say this is a shot you didn't see coming. You know, he just shaped up for a normal drive, and then the last minute just brings in the whip, really accentuates that bottom hand to get it round to that right hand of the fielder.
Amazing shot.
And the power.
That's what I said. It comes from timing and those amazing forearms and wrists. Very, very good wrists. Livingston. And this one's played square of the wicket. This time straight to Moin. No run. 69 for 3 in the 9th.
Well, they've already got their allocated runs for the over. I think, well, they need to go around 13s.
Yeah, little over 13, yeah. Livingston. And this one's played away on the onside. They will take 1 and probably will come back for the second. Very, very well run again. So 15 coming off that first over of spin. And in no time, Surya has moved up to 40. 71 for 3 after 9, India.
Yeah, when you're on the chase, you just got to kind of break it down in little chunks. There's sometimes a tussle. And if you can get that run rate for the over, bring the overall run rate down. You just feel like for them it's important. 2 boundaries per over. And then try and run it ragged and then pick up the loose ball.
Double spin attack. Moeen Ali being introduced from the pavilion end. And I'm a little bit surprised not to have seen Shreyas Iyer face any of the short stuff so far. Because he can be devastating against spin. We saw that against South Africa as well in that T20 series. And of course in the IPL he's taken down many a spinner. Moeen Ali will be a slightly different kettle of fish though. So where are the 4 men inside the ring? 2 on each side. Backward point, extra cover, mid-wicket and man at 45. Those are the 4 men in the ring. The 5 on the boundary. Sweeper cover. Long off, long on, deep mid-wicket and deep backward square. So fairly conventional for an off-spinner in this format of the game, Ebbs.
Going to have to keep it tight to that off-stump line. There's a lot of opportunity with the reverse sweep or trying to open through the covers.
Moeen bowls and Iyer comes down. He places it wide of the man at deep long on, who does a great job and makes sure that the scoring is restricted to 2. Iyer played that well. He got it wide enough and had to be Jordan. Brilliant diving effort. Saves 2 runs for his side. 73, I beg your pardon, for 3. Great stop. That sprawling big man. So quick. Butler pushes the man at extra cover at the edge of the circle now. And Moeen comes in again. He's in, he bowls, and Iyer makes some room and is beaten, looking to play the cut shot.
He's missed out there.
Yeah, got some bad on that, almost certainly would have picked up runs. Here's Moeen again. Comes into bowl to Shreyas, bowls, and Shreyas Iyer has hit this in the air. Has he got enough? Has he cleared the man, or is he going to be in trouble? Gets 6 runs, but not by much. And I think it was Willie there who was very interested and almost tripped over the cushion, but no damage done. 6 runs accrue to Shreyas Iyer and to India. 79 for 3 in the 10th.
Well, they're keeping up with the rate, scoring like this. Low full toss ended up coming in to value for runs. David Willey just trying to track the ball, didn't see the foam pads, but he had no chance.
Yeah, it was clear off him. He's tall enough, but the ball had just enough legs on it.
That's Moeen Ali. Okay, he's providing a bit more protection on the offside, so he's going to change his line slightly.
flatter and quicker through on the offside, probably. Iyer is on 13. Yes, he's got two men behind the wicket on the offside in the ring. Comes in bowls, and Iyer comes down the wicket, and he finds the fielder, the one who's just moved in there, and goes straight to him. No run.
Yeah, on that line, it's really hard to get it square with the rate that this wicket's coming on. You could just see he's trying to get it there to the right hand.
Yeah, there is a man down at sweeper cover as well. Moin bowls, and this time he's chopped it. He won't beat the two men in the ring. Tight single. Butler does well again from in front of the wicket. Sort of Dhoni-esque, but making his ground comfortably is Surya. 80 for 3 with one ball of the 10th to come. Iyer is on 14. Surya Yadav on 40 of 25. So the required run rate still well over 13.
Yeah, about 13.3. Yep.
So it's a very tall ask. Yes, this last over and this one kind of keeping pace with it, but to do it for another 10 overs might not be an easy task. Here's Moin in to bowl, wide outside the off stump and declared wide and called wide by the umpire. So bonus run, bowl it again.
Sorry, saw him just creeping across and just tried to fire it wide, went a bit too wide.
In he comes again. Bowls, and this time it's properly slogged, but along the ground, down towards wideish long on. Jordan's return comes in for a single. 82 for 3. 10 overs have now been bowled. More thoughts from you, Ebony, and then coming in for commentary, Jonathan Agnew.
Yeah, it's just one of those stages at the halfway where behind the rate need to crack things on. You almost feel like they need one big over somewhere where they could just claw some runs back, take down maybe one of the spinners or attack that side. So yeah, I think in England will feel they're in a good position here, Aggers, but never say never on a wicket like this.
It's a beautiful partnership, this. I mean, it's a terrific shots being played. They really are. The players are having a drink now.
The wide brought up the 50 partnership in 4.5 overs.
Oh, there's some outstanding shots. Beautiful stroke from Yadav, just delaying a square drive just enough to send the ball more to a square third man rather than the man out on point. I mean, it was just real quality. So, if you're just tuning in, I see that Djokovic has won Wimbledon, just in case you're interested. But meanwhile here, Roy 27, Butler 18, Milan excellent 77 from 39 balls, Salt 8, Moeen first ball duck, Brook 19, Jordan 11, and Liam Livingstone was 42 not out at the end of that innings from 29 balls. Hit 4 sixes but no fours, is quite surprising. And those sixes went miles. 2 lost balls, was it? I think it was 2 lost balls of his own. 3?
Over the course of the innings.
No, Livingstone's.
Oh, Livingstone's, yeah.
I think he's responsible for 2.
Yeah,
2 and down here. Hit the ball a long, long, long way. So the target's 216. 134 to win, therefore, from 10 overs. Which is, I suppose 3 wickets down. It's a good game.
It's a good game. It's doable. I think you need that over that just breaks the game a little bit. Maybe a 20. You know, sometimes you get one of those big overs. You take down a specific bowler or you target that leg side, and then that just changes the tone. It claws you back a few runs, gets the other team on a bit of a wobble. So I wouldn't be surprised if they just try to attack somebody specifically.
I see you're watching the tennis there, Ebs. Your language might have been expanded a bit listening to Kyrgios, I thought, there for a while.
I enjoy Kyrgios. I mean, he's a character and a half.
Yes.
I don't know what happened. When I left just then, I thought he was clawing it back.
Well, I think poor old Prince George might have had his language extended a bit.
Yeah, he's heard a few words.
Well, I think you might be asking Daddy what one of those words might have been later on. Yes, might have been. But anyway, it's been quite an entertaining final. India 82 for 3. Halfway through, and they're chasing 216 to win. Jordan's having a change of ends. David Willey's got this enormous sun hat on. There's something slightly agricultural about it. It looks like a sort of piece of long grass or a bit of a long stem of corn or something should be extended from his mouth. You know what I mean? Anyway, he's wandering around there at mid-off. 82 for 3. And Jordan is going to continue from this Ratcliffe Road end. He's bowling to Yadav. I think he's played some beautiful shots here. He's got 41. Jordan bowls to him, and that's up on his toes. Flicked away into the leg side. And finds the man coming in from that mid-wicket boundary. It's Salt who throws the ball in on the bounce. and they take 1 run. Crowd moving around, but I think possibly as little as possible, really. It's just it's such a warm, sultry day. Still fanning themselves over there, particularly to the left. The sun beating down. It's not so bad on the right-hand side there. There's some cover there. But it's full-on sun there in the left. Some blue Indian shirts I see there. As Jordan goes skipping in again past the umpire. Over the wicket, bowls a quick short ball, which is steered to third man by Shreyas Iyer. Thrown back in by Reece Topley, a towering figure down there on the boundary. Goes striding across now to... Where's he going to come? He's coming up inside the circle. So third man up inside, backward point inside, a man out on the point boundary. The main points of interest really are mid-on and mid-off. Where are they? Well, mid-off is up and mid-on is back. So that generally means that fine leg is back. And there's a deep mid-wicket too. So it's pretty standard stuff really. And generally if the mid-off goes back, fine leg comes up. Jordan bowls very full, squeezed away into the leg side. Can Salt prevent the second here? I don't think he can this time. Picking up one-handed, hurling the ball at the bounce to Jordan. And through they come for 2.
So far, one of those good overs. He's hit his marks well. They've only been able to sneak a single or 2. But at the rate they need to go, they have to find the boundary option. But the length he's bowling, it's quite hard to really get underneath it or get that leverage. Maybe step inside and flick onto the leg.
Showed 90 miles an hour that on the board. Quick ball. Chris Jordan. In he goes. He's bowling to Yadav. Very full again. It's that sort of Yorker length, really. And it was clubbed out by Yadav. But Jordan able to field. Full and straight. It still seems the best ball to me.
Just
very
simple.
Full, straight. And you really can't do much with that.
Bowlers who nail the Yorker, there is nowhere to go. It's hard
No.
to get leverage. You can't squeeze it out too far.
No, and you can only really hit it straight. Andy, if you can read that on your screen. I'd like to know the name of your optician. In goes Jordan and bowls. Oh, that's a lovely stroke. He didn't quite get the length. That's landed just inside the boundary. It's only a fraction. It's about a foot in length difference, a little bit shorter. So Yadav could therefore just get underneath it and hit that ball over mid-off. It's just a fraction, but that's all he needs. What a shot! Look at that! Look at the effort to get that in the air. Really, that's very fancy. I like that. That's proper ballet.
Well, he did a bit of a click of the hips, didn't he? Afterwards, a bit of flourish. He enjoyed that.
Yeah. I think I saw you doing those moves in a Dubai nightclub once.
Yeah, I remember you were out as well. I showed you some new moves.
I wasn't doing those moves. 90 for 3. And, well, that was a terrific shot. I mean, it really was. And the footwork afterwards was very fancy. You should watch the highlights for that. In goes Jordan over the wicket. Bowls. He's got it right again this time. Very full. And it can only be played out to mid-off. And the throw misses from Willie. Cool, wasn't far away that. Interesting to see what a direct hit might have done. Had to have made his ground and Willie just missed the stumps with that attempted throw. 11 overs gone, 91 for 3, the target 216. So 125 needed from 9.
Well, this the table I was looking at.
How are you going to read
Agnes,
that?
Well, I was looking at most runs added in the second half of a T20 chase
But why is it so small?
to win. Well, so it can fit on the screen.
Oh, I
Agnes.
see. Well, you're not going to read all those off.
No, not going to read the board off.
About 50 things on there.
In international T20s, only one team has scored more than the 134 India needed at the start of the second half of this innings. That, once again, was another classic Bulgaria v Serbia clash.
Do you know,
Sofia.
We should really have been at that game, you know.
It was a different game in the same series.
Oh, in the same...
When Bulgaria added 144 from over 11 to 20.
Who won that
to
series
win.
in the end?
Well, I think Bulgaria
Right.
came out on top. 43 from Aravinda de Silva in that.
Well, he's still running well between the wickets, is Harry?
Yes. But in all T20 cricket, there'll only been 5 innings in which a team scored more than this to win in second innings in the last 10 overs.
Right, Topley's back and very full, played out to cover, and they take a single. Do you know what this particular pitch is like in the middle of Serbia? Yadav reaches 50, by the way, with that little single, and very nicely he's played 2, 92 for 3, and that's worth at least 3 fires of the gas burners over to our right-hand side. 92 for 3. Target 216. Is it a put-in pitch, do we think, or is it? Do we have any idea? Here's Topley, left arm over, played up to mid-off again. Well, there's a couple of singles. They've got to get their eyes on boundaries here.
I don't know about that. I'll see if I can ring the groundsman in Sofia.
Where is this, Sofia?
Yeah. So
actually, Sonny Gavaskar popped into Sofia, I think, on his way to come and work here last time, because he could do his quarantine in Sofia. Perhaps he prepared the pitch, or he's put some input into the Croatian team or Serbian team, whatever it is. He definitely came. He had a week there, I think. There's Topley bowling and flogged into the leg side, heading out towards the boundary. He shouldn't get there. Fielder slides over the green turf, still just about green. So dry over here. Nice piece of fielding. And that was just one again. 94 for 3. Need to go at 14 and a half and over.
Suryakumar Yadav's 50 came from 32 balls, or 6 and 7 fours. It's his 5th in this format for India.
Yeah, nice innings too. Looking dangerous. 51 from 33. Shreyas Iyer's on strike though. 16 as Topley moves in and bowls him down the leg side. Surely a wide. Oh, it's not. Gee, that's very rare. It's very rare you see a ball passing so close to a batsman's bottom and not called a wide.
Yeah, Topley knows he's lucky to get away with that one.
He must have gone across in front of his stumps and it literally go over a leg stump. 94 for 3.
He's been doing a good job.
2 balls to go in the 12th. The towering Topley sets off again, crouching slightly. Up he comes now, bowls short, and that's hit away into the leg side. Didn't really get hold of that. So it's just 1 run.
I think the bowlers. Sorry, they've definitely got their plans clear. We saw Jordan's last over. The only thing that went slightly wrong was one of the Yorkers not quite pitched. I think Reece Topley again here, he's quite clear when he's putting it into the wicket. He's not floating it on a length. He'll make sure he hits it, so it's an awkward length. Fielders have kept those potential 2s into 1s. And at the moment they're looking like a more well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and quite old school with the full bowling, aren't they, as well? Trying to bowl Yorkers. 95 for 3. Topley again from round the wicket, moves in and bowls, and that's a lovely shot again. He had to give himself a little bit of room, and so steering that full ball square. 1 more run out into that point area. It's the end of that over, which is number 12. 96 for 3 is the score. Full house at Trent Bridge. Enjoying the cricket, enjoying the weather. Another week of sunshine coming up, whether you're playing or watching cricket. I think it's going to be a lovely week. We've got Tuesday at the Oval.
Yeah, heat wave coming. Are you going to also crank up that barbecue?
Well, right towards by the end of the week, because we've got Tuesday at the Oval, haven't we?
Thursday Lords.
At Lords.
It's my mum's birthday on Wednesday.
Is it?
It is.
Actually, it's my wife's birthday on Wednesday.
No way.
Yes.
I hope you've booked something indecent.
Well, I have.
You don't have to say on radio, but I'm hoping it's decent.
Oh no, she knows. She booked it herself.
That's smart.
96 for 3. And in goes Livingston. Bowls. And that's swung away high into the leg side. And it's gone far enough too. Which isn't necessarily very far down there, as we know, but it's 6. Very well played by Yadav again. Stepping away into the offside, giving himself that room. And the 100 comes up. 102 for 3.
I think this is a dangerous little patch here with the spinners coming in. India have been behind the rate, but also taking that pace off this short boundary. All India are going to mostly look to do now in this next over is just capitalise on that.
Got to target Livingston, I think. If they're going to get to within a relatively controlled chase, I think Livingston has to go in this over. They're fiddling with the field. Interesting here, they brought that point man much straighter, so he's more at extra cover on the boundary. Livingston's got to try and pitch it up here, and he does, and that's driven down the ground to long off. Jordan's here, very quick, of course, prowling round. And so 1, and that's the length he's got to try and bowl and not allow him the length to pick his spot, really, and hit the ball in the air. 103 for 3. Butler's seen something. It's coming up and passing whatever that is on to Livingston, who is bowling in his sunglasses. There's a short fine leg. 3 square or behind square on the offside in the circle. Livingston again moves in. Oh, now that's a bit naughty because he saw the reverse sweep being set up there and so declined to bowl. And the Indian supporters saying, hey, come on, you can't do that. Well, the reverse sweep was 3 men there. Livingston again bowls. Oh, that's a big one. A towering 6. Here it comes. Wonderful shot from Shreyas Iyer. That's worth 4 burns on those gas rockets. 5, in fact. You got an extra one for luck.
Well, after playing a bit of cat and mouse the previous ball, this one was a bit more classic. Use your feet, run down, full flow of the bat through the line. That has gone some way.
Livingston again, they're after him. There's the reverse sweep. He doesn't make contact with it. Butler gathers, 109 for 3. Being a spinner and knowing that they're under attack, they really got a hold in nerve. Butler's seen something else. He's trotting all the way up again. And he's going to suggest something here to Livingston. Field, or maybe, they have got that reverse sweep about as well covered as they could with 3 men inside the circle there. There's a gap, but there's Livingston again. And he's bowling to Shreyas Iyer. It's a bit short and turned into the leg side. Then there will be 1. I thought he might have taken that on and pulled it out to mid-wicket actually, but he played with a vertical bat. 110 for 3.
Yeah, I think he saw him coming, Livingston, and just fired it a little bit.
1 to go in the 13th. No ball. Oh no, that is poor. That's really poor, I'm afraid. And listen to the Indian crowd. Now, they did take a run there, so they can change the field. But I'm afraid, Liam Livingstone, you should not be bowling those. A free hit at 111 for 3. They have kept it as it is. And Livingston spins himself a catch. Where's this going to go? Yadav's on strike, moves in, bowls short, pulled away into the leg side. The howl will tell you that's gone for 6. Poor ball, and this is the over that was going to go. 99 needed. Well,
this is a bit of an error here from Livingston. First the no ball, and then you know what's coming. Then drags a very short poor ball down into the surface.
Nasty. And
he just cashes in. Andy, how many from this over already? I'm just trying to see what the damage could be.
21 so far. The required rate at the start of the over was exactly 15.
There's still 1 to go. 99 from 43 balls, 7 wickets in hand. That's the equation. As Livingston spins himself a catch again. Yadav's waiting for him. He's on 65. Better length that. And Butler's whipped the bails off. He's appealing for a stumping. So the square leg umpire inevitably will call for some technical assistance on this. I don't think anyone's particularly excited by it, if I'm honest. Moeen would be he's in a good position there, but then Moeen doesn't jump up and down very much anyway. He's just putting the bails back on, so I don't think he thinks this is out. I don't think Butler thinks it's out. But we're just going to check and make sure. But it's spun a little bit, that one, actually. But well, the angle we're seeing there is not going to tell us anything. It's a straight down the pitch. But, I think they're trying to get. It wasn't an appeal for a catch, but we're seeing the ultra edge at the moment. It's the stumping really that they're interested in. And let's see. No, foot grounded throughout. So that'll be not out.
Question, Aggers.
Yeah, go on.
Suppose you see a little bit of a spike on the outside edge. What happens?
That's out.
Would it be?
Yes.
But a review for a stumping.
Yeah, but
the team didn't use a review.
That is out. Because you start the review from the ball being bowled, don't you? Because sometimes you see them, if there's appeal for a catch behind and see it flick the pad, they'll then run an LBW review after that.
Understand that, but that's a team review. But if it's just a stumping review, is it fair then? I could just rip the bails off all the time, and if everything I think is a catch at the wicket from a spinner, and get free reviews.
I'll have to think that through. Here's Gleeson bowling. That's sliced away down the back. Good point, misfield from Moeen. It shouldn't cost anything. Oh, it will do. Oh, no, they started off for the second there. And then Yadav sent him back again. 98 from 41. But if a little spike had been shown there, he'd been out caught, wouldn't he? That'd have given him out. Off you go. But you're saying should they lose a review because it was a stumping? I don't think they would have lost.
No, he's saying that they didn't have a team review for caught at your wicket. It was a review for stumping, which you're allowed unlimited amount for.
Which the umpire, yes.
So is it the umpire's error who was in the thing?
You modern players are so cynical, you know.
Just checking.
You are. You look at every little loophole.
A lot of grey areas knocking around.
In my day, you just packed your bat under your arm and you walked off. 118 for 3. In comes Gleeson and he bowls. Oh, what a shot that is! That is an incredible stroke. I have to be honest, I don't think I've ever seen that before. He's played off the front foot what looked from this angle to be like an extra cover drive. But he's opened the face of the bat. It's gone miles high over third man. How has he got that down there?
No idea. The only time I've ever seen that shot played is EA Sports Cricket 2007. You had a cheat code where you could hit any ball for 6 with a massive bat, and you play like a square drive and it'll go over third man, and that's exactly what we just saw. Ridiculous.
I don't know what you even call that shot. What do you call it?
You have to put Surya something before it.
I think, wow, what a shot. Here comes Gleeson, and that's steered off the back foot for a single this time. That is, if you're going to watch one thing on the highlights tonight, it's got to be that. And actually, by Tuesday, you can email in, or whatever you want to do in, and you can tell us what you think that shot should be called.
I'll go for the Surya slash. Sounds like
but it was a drive. It was a drive, though.
I try my best, Saggers.
Well, it's a good start. No, that's all right. That's got us away.
Nice way to bring off his highest T20 score for India.
11 o'clock, BBC Two, the highlights. Come on, what do you call that? 125 for 3. Gleeson again moves in, bowls, and Shreyas tucks that away off his hip. Out towards deep square leg. There's a man who comes in. A bit awkward out there now, looking into the sun, so not an easy place to be. Butler again, he's going to cover some miles as captain of this, because he's got to run all the way up from behind the stumps again. It's going to impact the over rates, that's for sure, which they're pretty strict on in T20 cricket. 90 from 38 balls and 126 for 3. Game building up nicely. Where's your 5p, Carlos?
Still feel England 1 wicket away. Surya needs to go very, very deep here.
He's on strike now. Gleeson comes in, bowls down the leg side. Another brilliant improvised shot. Paddled over the shoulder, helped on its way. Very, very fine indeed. And the man below us couldn't get there. And Surya Kumar Yadav is just, he's inventing new shots here, really. God, that's clever.
I remember playing against him in the IPL, and in the meeting, this was years ago, in the meeting they talk about having everyone in front of square up and having 4 men almost behind square, so fine leg and third man straight behind, backward square and backward point behind as well, and this is the reason why you got supple wrists and you can play you can flare those balls from almost on top of off stump behind square.
It's brilliant, it really is. Here's Gleeson again, bowls to full, works into the leg side. He'll have his eye on 2 here, depends on Shreyas going back. He's got his head down and running for the bowler's end. 2 more. 84 needed from the last 6 overs. 36 balls. And with these 2 playing absolutely brilliantly.
Well, brilliant enough to bring up a 100 partnership in exactly 9 overs.
Well, they really have. You could just see it starting as well and building up and building up. Oh no, I do like Sherry Kumar, I must say. That's been worth its entrance fee alone, to come in and watch this fella playing. 71 off 35 balls. Wonderful strokes. And Jordan's coming back, and England need a wicket here.
And they've had 11 overs of seam, which have collectively gone for 84. 3 overs of spin have gone for 47. They'll still need 1 over from Livingston or Moeen, assuming they bowl their 4 seamers through to their 4 overs each.
Surya played a shot off Jordan. and it had so much flair back over his head. That was a shot for me.
I've got a few to choose. I loved his square driver. He just delayed it enough to miss the fielder. Jordan, oh my word, Jordan. He's almost trying to use the other pitch there, like he'd had enough of this one. That was so wide, and he thought, well, I'll have a go on that one. It's slightly greener. But that was a very, very wide indeed. Almost a double wide. 133 for 3.
I think it's time to just go death, to be honest. If they can bowl 3-4 solid overs apace,
Very
then
full.
you don't worry about that last over, because they need 40 odd.
It's a dangerous ball with that fine leg up. That last one. Here goes Jordan again. Oh, beautifully bowled. That was bang on. Leg stump. Very, very full. See how many Jordan can get there. They took a single out to point. 134 for 3. 82 needed. 35 balls left. Farmer Willie rubs the ball. 90 miles an hour again. That's showing. I am with you on the full ball going high on the gun, though, Carlos, I must say. Seems to be the case. But even so, 90 miles an hour there from Chris Jordan, who wheels round. He's going to bowl to Suryakumar Yadav then on 78 from 42 balls. Trent Bridge hushed as Jordan sets off again. He bowls off. Well, again, it's a brilliant stroke. He knew what Jordan was going to bowl. It was going to be a leg stump Yorker. But to get into position and to sweep that so fine for 4 is, again, this fellow's a magician. Or he is today, at any rate. I mean, that is just absolutely brilliant. It would just have missed leg stump.
You just need to appreciate good cricket.
Oh, yeah.
CJ set the field for it. 4 men back on the leg side, executed the Yorker, and Suryakumar Yadav counteracted it beautifully.
It's second guessing. It's knowing. You look at the field. You're a batsman. Okay, I know what he's going to have to try and bowl here. You might get the bluff. Of course, he might have stuck it up his nose. You could do that. Jordan again bowls, and he steps away, hits it over cover. Willie's after it, but he won't get there. What an innings this is. 86 from 44 balls from Suryakumar Yadav. Another boundary and another dash up the pitch for Jos Buttler to speak to Chris Jordan here. I mean, he's getting the ball more or less in the right place. These are not terrible balls. It's perhaps a foot short of where he is absolutely trying to get it there, but not much. 51 runs have come off the last 21 balls.
I'd probably question Jordan planning at the moment. Obviously, he's trying to bowl straight. He's trying to bowl Yorker, but the fine leg and square leg is that little cutaway, which is probably shortest side of the ground. I'd love to see him go wide Yorker, force Suryakumar Yadav to hit to the bigger side of the ground, and then he'd have to be a bit more inventive as well.
Well, it's staying as it is for now. Mid-off's up. Jordan runs in and bowls. There's a slower ball. He's mistimed this slightly, pulling the ball into the leg side. So it's only a single. And a wild throw comes in. Poor old Jordan has to run after that. 143 for 3, 73 needed from 32 balls. Well, they really have brought this game to life, these two. Shreyas Iyer has played second fiddle, really, but he's still scored 27 from 21. Lots of shouting going on. Indian spectators saying, come on, we're enjoying this. Fine leg up, third man back. Long on up as Jordan goes in. He gives himself some room, flicks into the leg side, and we'll pick up 1. That's that short boundary over to our right-hand side. Last ball of his 15th over. 72 needed. Can Yadav find the boundary here? Can Jordan keep him down to just 1 maybe? We'll see. He's drying his hand on the ground. No change. It's still that point, and mid-off is up and long on back. 4 on the leg side boundary. Kuma's 87 not out from 45 balls. It's a minute adjustment to the field. Butler there moving his long on round a bit. Here's the last ball of the 15th over. Jordan runs in, he bowls. Oh my word, what an incredible shot! He's driven him for 6 over point. And not a skimmer, a high one. Somehow he's got underneath that, and that was not a bad ball. That really wasn't. And Jordan himself he's looking for the replay. He's looking at the big screen saying, how on earth did that get there? What did I do wrong? The answer, Chris, is he didn't, really. That is just brilliant. 150 for 3, 66 needed from 30 balls. Scarbanos, here I come. Lovely catch you, Carlos. Prakash coming in here. I'll see you on Tuesday.
What a sign-off, Aggers. Yeah, that was extraordinary. I'd love to see from this end that Jordan is bowling that the wide yaw could be used a bit more. It's predictable, and I know Chris Jordan backs his execution versus the execution of the batter, but Suryakumar Yadav is having a day out. 93 odd, all 46 balls.
Irrespective of the result, this has been an incredible batting display by Surya. We've all known that he's got wrists which are simultaneously rubber and steel, and he's shown that. Here's Topley, fresh over, and this time Iyer has nicked it, and he is walking back to the pavilion, having pulled away to the leg side, playing a nothing shot. I think got the bottom part of the bat under edge and carried through to the keeper, and that is the stand broken. 150 now for 4. Nothing shot, really.
Yeah, you just had an over like you won that you had. Play a strong shot, hit the ball into the leg side. We know the short ball is not Shreyas's strength, but hit the ball into the leg side, pull it down hard into the ground. You could potentially get 2 or 4. Even if you only get a single, you bring Suryakumar Yadav back on strike. You risk now, if the new batter bats 2 or 3 dots, Suryakumar Yadav breaks his rhythm, partnership broken, and England back in the ascendancy. Not wise at all from Shreyas Iyer.
Absolutely, and I thought, Carlos, I don't know if you sensed that, but all through this innings of Shreyas Iyer's, it looked as if he was just waiting for that ball to be dropped in short and get him into some position. He never looked, except for that one shot where he came down to Liam Livingston and deposited him back over long on. He hasn't looked himself. And I wonder what is going on in his mind. But he's walked back to the pavilion. Dinesh Karthik has come in. And from a script writing perspective, this is the perfect setting for him to come in. Whether or not he can do anything, we'll find out soon.
Well, that's one way of looking at it. You could think Shreyas Iyer may soak up a few dot balls with the pace and the short ball that we know he doesn't love. And you could think about it as a way of Dinesh Karthik being in early enough and just long enough to work his magic as he often done in the past.
66 of 29, still a very tall ask. Here's Topley into Karthik, and Karthik is fishing outside the off stump, looking to run it down, doesn't make any contact. These are good 2 balls. Great start to the over for Topley.
Momentum is a big factor in T20 cricket, especially. How many balls will it take for this partnership to get going again after the fair work to the last over and the partnership that they just had, Shreyas and Suryakumar Yadav?
Yeah, and Yadav really must be itching to get back on strike. Here's Topley into Dinesh, and once again he's beaten him. This is poor cricket. This is poor cricket from India, because right now priority number 1 has to be to get Suryakumar Yadav back on strike, isn't it, Carlos?
I think Dinesh Karthik trying his best. He just can't get it done. Topley, tall, left-handed, angling away from him. He's trying to nudge it down to the third man that's back on the boundary to get a single, to get Suryakumar Yadav on strike. But this is what I mentioned about Shreyas's shot. All of a sudden, 3 balls into this over. Now there's going to be a 4th, and Suryakumar Yadav has not played a ball since his heroics in the last over.
Topley bowled, and again unable to get the ball away is Dinesh Karthik, which means Surya can do nothing else than watch from the other end. Frustration for him, frustration for Indian supporters. But what a great over so far from Topley. He's really come back strongly in this over.
And you talk about taking the positive option, and you just wonder if the positive option in that situation for Shreyas Iyer was to tap it into the leg side, get a single, get off strike, let Surya Kumar Yadav do his thing. If you get to this position, 15.4, 4 balls in the over gone, and Shreyas Iyer is still on strike, then you're expecting to go for the big shot. To try to regain a bit of momentum, but all momentum dissipated in this over.
Topley into Karthik. Karthik this time gets bat on ball and will bring Yadav back on strike. Now what this is going to do, obviously, Carlos, is the mindset of Yadav is now going to be, what can I manufacture here? He has manufactured some amazing shots, but like you said, the momentum just sort of shifted England's way in that over, last ball of it to come.
And you probably think that this over is lost. If he gets a 4 off this ball, fair enough, but how much risk will he need to take to get a boundary? And if he loses his wicket, that is potentially game over. It's a difficult wicket to come in and start on. So he probably needs to try to get a single, and if you approach the mindset batting wise to just get a single, that's when he loses a wicket. So this is a lose-lose ball for India at the moment, unless Surya Kumar Yadav could pull something out the hat, play a ridiculous shot and get a 6.
That's a brilliant observation. Stopley bowls and he's gone over the man and will get 4 runs to square third. But that means Dinesh Karthik is the job at the other end now, to quickly turn strike around and get in that momentum. He's gone on to 97 now.
Reece Topley's had an outstanding day, 3 for 22 from his 4 overs, in the back end of the innings he bowled the 12th over, went for just 5 singles, and this over also went for 5 with the wicket of Shreyas. So just quickly on Surya Kumar Yadav, began with 8 off 12 and has now scored another 89 from his next 35 balls.
Unreal. Couple of those shots, Carlos, unbelievable one there.
Yeah.
That one that he played almost as if he was driving it and then sort of scooped it, the reverse, the sweep, the very fine sweep, and that incredible 6 over point in the previous over from Chris Jordan.
Those are shots you cannot set a field for. Firstly, they're going for 6, obviously, so regardless if the field was there or not, but the angles in which he's hitting these deliveries as a bowler, you can't exactly set a field and put him out at that angle, because then he's batting so well, he just hit the ball conventionally and it goes where the man, quote unquote, should have been. So sensational stuff from Surya Kumar Yadav. You can see if he can bring it home.
Dinesh Karthik on strike to Willie, who goes in bowls, and Dinesh has gone big over the offside. 1 bounce over the wideish long off boundary for 4. Good start to the over. 159 for 4. Now 57 of 23. Still a very, very tall ask.
I tell you what, if Surya Kumar Yadav and Dinesh Karthik stays into the last over, India will win the game. They still have an over of spin to bowl England, and the bowlers are not landing other than Topley what they want to do with the death skills. They've set a wide field, really, but that was a gentle half volley just outside off stump, and rightly so dispatched to the boundary.
Karthik settles over his bat. Willie goes away from us and bowls, and Karthik this time is reaching for it. Wide signal. Willie can't believe it, but he will have to go back and bowl that again. 160 for 4.
That is better. As a skipper or as a bowler, you prefer, if you're going wide line, for it to be called a wide just outside the wide line. If he bowls 2 of those and then nails it and it goes for a single, albeit you've bowled 3 balls, but that one legal delivery is gone for 3 runs. If you miss on the inside and you get hit for 6, 1 ball for 6 is a win-win, missing wide.
Willie bowled, and this one's pulled, but straight to the fielder there. There'll be a single, which is not so bad from an India perspective, because that'll bring Surya back on strike on 97. India 161 for 4. 22 balls remain. Quick word between the 2 batters, and let's see where the fielders are. There's a sweeper cover out on the offside. There's a man down at deep square. Long on, long off in place. What is Willie going to bowl? He's got 2 men behind the bat on the 30-yard circle. Here's Willie bowls, and he's found the gap again, and that is his 100. Take a bow, sir. What a phenomenal knock it is from Surya Kumar Yadav. 101 of 48 balls, and he's not done yet. Carlos.
Sensational. I just hope he soaks in this applause. There's not much time to do it. There's still a game to win, but that's been a sensational set of batsmanship. Started slowly, and as soon as he got a little bit of rhythm, a little bit of momentum, he never once let England get it back. Super stuff. Deserved 100. One to definitely remember.
Yeah, and he's been for so long one of those warriors who's played his cricket in first class, Ranji Trophy cricket, then sort of made a mark for Mumbai Indians and has grown from strength to strength. Integral, I think, to India's T20 chances internationally going forward. Here's Willie into Surya, and he's hit this in the air, but there is a man who will cover up. It's Jordan, who's very quick in the field, limits the scoring to just 1. 166 for 4. 50 of 20. That's the equation.
Yeah, Surya Kumar Yadav's 48 ball century contained 5 sixes and 12 fours. It's his first in this format. It's the 9th for India in this format. He's the 5th player to make a T20 century for India, and that single also made him the highest scorer for India against England in T20s.
Willie to Dinesh, and Dinesh Karthik is looking to whip it away on the onside. It's run away off his pad. He'll be unhappy because he missed out there, one thinks, if he'd got some bat on it. In fact, there's discussing whether they should review that. Might have just pitched outside the leg stump.
Yeah,
they have gone for the review.
You know, when something just doesn't look right, you wonder if it pitch outside, if it can miss off, if it didn't pitch outside, if it's too high. Probably just taking a little bit of momentum out of the game.
Exactly, just slow it down. 167 for 4 as the review has been called for by the England skipper for an LBW decision against Dinesh Karthik. Here's the first look, Carlos. Looks pretty straight. That's gone. That's middle of middle, I think.
I would be a shocking umpire. Everything looked wrong about it. Actually, everything right has just happened. Pitch on, straighten just a bit, hit knee height.
That's got to be out, isn't it? And he's deep in his crease too, so. Just in line, middle of middle. We're not getting a call up for umpiring anytime soon.
Shocking umpire, Carlos.
166 for 5 now. Dinesh Karthik not able to do anything today. He's gone. LBW to the bowling of Willie, and India now 166 for 5. Looking to work it onside. Basically missed it, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, the shot was there. The thinking behind the shot. Obviously, we're talking about that backward square short side as it is. So not a bad option. Just missed it. Didn't do much either. Just missed a straight one.
Yeah. Just pitching on the edge of that line, but sufficient part of the ball pitching inside the mat, as it were, to suggest that it was a ball that had not pitched outside. Now, Ravindra Jadeja. A man who on his day can do some heroics, but just feel this is a bit too far. Unless, of course, we had Carlos Brathwaite batting for us in the last over.
In 2016.
Exactly. That would be a different story. 166 for 5.
They do have a little bit of hope. They need to maximise these next couple overs. There's one over hanging in the wind.
The spin. Here's Willie to Jadeja, who is now on strike. Here's Willie, goes in bowls, and Jadeja has an almighty swing. They're going to run one, and they're thinking of the second, quite rightly choosing not to, but that means Surya will stay at the non-striker's end again. Not sure about that, but they had to take that run, obviously. 167 for 5. So 49 of 18.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Ravindra Jadeja is a quality player in his own right, but it's just those little 2 and 3 ball swings. We had one with Shreyas getting up, which actually was a 5 ball swing,
yeah,
where Dinesh Karthik batting a few dot balls. And then you're talking about this one potentially being a 2 or 3 ball swing with Kartik's wicket, single off the last ball, no Jadeja to take strike. Those are balls that you want Surya Kumar Yadav to be facing. He's in. It's difficult to start. He even struggled to start. You want him to continue to motor along and the others to play second fiddle.
And I guess Joss Butler will be hoping that that 1 over of spin that Carlos is referring to may not actually be required or won't be material, because these two will have to go hard in the next 2 overs, and he's got Gleeson and Jordan, of which Gleeson now has the ball.
And that's the thinking from the skipper, to be honest.
Here's Gleeson to Jadeja. In he comes, bowls, and Jadeja plays it straight back to the bowler. And there is no run, so another dot ball.
Yeah, in years gone by, you would have thought, get the spinner in, and then you close out with these bowlers. Now the thinking is gone toward, let's close the game out by the 19th over,
right.
So it's immaterial who bowls that 20th.
Take it out of the equation, as it were. Here's Gleeson to Jadeja. Races in, bowls, and Jadeja goes big, and he's connected beautifully with that. How far has this gone? All the way. Welcome 6 for India and for Jadeja. He got hold of that really well, hit it straight as an arrow over the bowler's head. 173 for 5.
Quality cricket, held his shape well. Difficult to just come in and blast from ball 1. That's the situation he's faced with. That's how you do it. Hold your shape, play a good cricket shot still. And he timed that one for 6. You can't even say he muscled it.
No, absolutely not. And that draws a change in the field. Long off being pushed back, third man being brought in to the 30-yard circle as Gleeson comes into bowl to Jadeja again. He's up, he bowls. And Jadeja is striking one from on the middle stump, and he's been given out LBW, which means Surya will have to go back to the non-strikers end, and India will lose their 6th, unless, as Jadeja has chosen to review. We have to review at this stage, I suppose.
Yeah, and it looks out to me, so it probably is not out.
Well, maybe it isn't, given the umpiring that you and I saw in the previous appeal, but it looked very, very out, because he went down on one knee looking to go over the onside, cross-batted swipe. He's probably hit him on the full. I didn't know where the ball was going. Gleeson kept it simple. You miss, I hit theory. And I think we will have confirmation, Carlos, that this decision, as called by you, is 100% accurate.
That'll be a first.
173 for 6, waiting on the review from the umpire for LBW against Ravindra Jadeja, and this is the only hope. No. Was there some bat? Clearly none, and I think that is going to mean that Jadeja will make the long whack back to the pavilion. Umpire having another look at it. Carlos, what do you think?
Don't look so to me. There's a big enough space in the front arm view that the bat is nowhere close to the ball, so there's a little bit of a spike, but that's probably bat hitting the ground as he swings across it. It's taking ages.
Still waiting. Strange, isn't it? Sometimes when there's a appeal or there's no review, the replay comes back up very, very quickly. And sometimes it takes an awfully long time, as it is now. Here it is now. Yep. 3 reds, and that means Jadeja is gone as well, and maybe with it the match. And I say that only because Surya is still at the non-strikers end. He doesn't have strike. Harshal Patel played a decent hand in the game yesterday, but I think he's expecting too much from him now, unless of course he can somehow create a situation where Surya has a lot of the strike.
Well, he's only had 3 balls of the last 15 since hitting a 6 to bring up India's 150. In all, since the end of the power play, India's other batters, Iyer, Kartik and Jadeja, between them have scored 40 off 33, and Surya Kumar Yadav 94 off 37. So none of them have really been able to provide any acceleration alongside him.
That is a telling stat, isn't it, Andy? I think the fact that he scored almost 3 times or 2.5 times what the others collectively have in the space of more or less similar amount of deliveries. 43 of 15. This game is England's. The question is, how close can India take it? As Harshal Patel gets ready to take strike, with 3 balls of this over remaining, the 18th, and Gleeson comes into bowl to him. He's into bowl to Patel, and Patel drives on the offside straight to Moeen Ali, and no run.
You know, we've spoken a lot about bad batting from India, but I think we need to give Butler and the England bowlers credit for the plans. They kept it very simple to Dinesh Karthik as he came in, just running and run the ball across him on a good length, produced a few dots. Here again, they saved the single, the 2 off the last ball of Jadeja, and now Gleeson is trying to dot up Harshal Patel.
Yep. And just keeping it straight. And again, I wonder if Harshal would have been better served by just dropping and running, but he chose not to. Here's Gleeson into Harshal, and Harshal hits this up the ground. They'll take 1 and will stay with it. Once again, it is the last ball of the over for Surya Yadav.
So I think at this point in time, it needs to be a set play. Surya Kumar Yadav find a way to get a single and then bat all 6 balls from the other end. It's almost you've gone to test cricket time. You're batting with the tail, and you take all 6 balls and try to get a single off the last ball of the second to last over.
Well, what's he thinking? Is he thinking a big shot? Is he thinking drop and run? And as Carlos is suggesting, just get to the other end and then see what he can do with 6 balls of a fresh over. Wait and watch. Here's Gleeson to Surya, comes in bowls, and he's worked it away on the onside. This could be trouble for Yadav. There could have been an overthrow. They're not going to run it, quite rightly. And at the end of that over, India are 175 for 6. They now require 41 runs off 12 balls.
Very good cricket. You know what? In that passage of play, love the awareness. Square leg came in to try to save a single. Surya Kumar Yadav tried to get a single, tapped it to him. Livingston tried to throw the stumps down, but Jordan backing up made no effort to hair in and stop 2. He would have been happy. He would have been happy for them to get 2, and Surya Kumar Yadav rightfully said no.
Andy.
Another decent performance from Richard Gleeson after his 3 for 15 on debut the other day. 1 for 31, 11 dot balls in his 4 overs.
You surprised by that, Carlos? Moeen bowling the 19th over. We thought he'd be left for the 20th, if at all.
Very surprised. I mean, Moeen is a good bowler, and he's one that can bowl wide Yorker or straight Yorker as a spinner, and very effectively as well, as the spinners say, get under the bat. It'd be interesting to see how he goes. I'd probably prefer him bowling the last over, defending 24-25.
Moeen Ali, first ball wide outside the off stump, swung and wide called by the umpire. Have to bowl it again, 176 for 6. 3 men in the ring on the offside at the edge of the 30-yard circle, and then there's a sort of an extra cover right on the boundary on the offside. Here's Moeen again, bowls, and Surya's got enough on it. This will run away, I think, to the boundary. Yes, it beats the 3 men who are running after it, and Yadav gets 4. Thickish outside edge, flew over the inner cordon. 36 from 11.
Surya Kumar Yadav needs to go as big as he potentially can in this over. I think the game is won and lost in this over. Moeen Ali will either get a wicket and break the back of this chase and win the game for England, or Surya Kumar Yadav will get 25 or so and make it very winnable in the last over.
Moeen bowls. Yadav goes big on the onside. He's got all of it. That's 6. Over wide, long on. Surya Kumar Yadav is having the innings of his life here. 113 not out now, and 30 from 10 is the story.
2 balls in.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
2 balls in. It looks like a bad decision from Joss Butler to go with Moeen Ali.
And now that you've said this, he'll probably get a wicket on the next ball.
Got 4 big deliveries in the match coming up.
Now it's his second century in all T20 cricket, now his highest score. He's
Moeen Ali to Surya Kumar, goes in bowls wide outside the off stump and called wide. The pressure on Moeen, that's the second wide of the over. 187 for 6, 29 now required of 10. This is getting rather exciting. Here's Moeen, goes in bowls again, and this time he's got the ball away for 4 more. Terrific shot, great placement. Willie could do nothing but watch it race into the boundary. 191 for 6, 25 now needed of 9.
Whoa, 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 Tell you what I enjoying about this knock from Surya Kumar, especially his last few overs, the composure and poise in which he's playing his strokes. Leaving that ball that was wide outside the off stump with 2 overs to go takes a tremendous amount of calm and composure in a heated moment, winning the game for your country.
Moin comes in again, bowls, and Yadav this time is playing the paddle sweep. He knows there was a single, he rightly refuses it and stays on strike. I think he was expecting Moin to maybe go a little bit straighter on this occasion and had a long way to bring it back as he tried to lap it towards that short boundary. Moin's giving him nothing on his pads, nothing on the onside, as you'd expect. 191 for 6. 8 balls remain. Moin goes in, bowls, and Yadav goes big. There is a man who is getting underneath it and he takes the catch. That's the match.
That's the game.
That is definitely the game. One ball that he didn't time well. The sound that came off the headphones was clear, wasn't it, Carlos? He got the bottom of the bat, didn't time it, and a good catch at long off means that the heroic effort by Suryakumar Yadav to somehow pull India out of this game and win it for them is over. 191 for 7 as he walks back to a standing ovation from this crowd. Disappointed that he couldn't bring it home. India 191 for 7 and Yadav is gone.
If there was ever a knock that deserved the win, it was that. As we spoke about it, he needed to go all 6 deliveries. Such a precarious position that India found themselves. And he did well enough in the first 4. But on the 5th one, he lost his wicket. And the gamble from Joss Butler's paid off. Moeen Ali's gone for a few runs in this over, but he's taken the prize scalp. And I think that's the end of the game. That's the end of the resistance from India.
Absolutely. It's now a question of how many academically will India get in this game, but England have won this for all practical purposes.
Final figures for that sensational innings: 117 from 55 balls, 6 sixes and 14 fours. As I said, he was 8 off 12. So that was 109 from the next 43. It's the second highest score for India in T20s, 1 run behind Rohit Sharma's 118 against Sri Lanka back in 2017, and also the second highest against England. Only Aaron Finch's 156 in Southampton in 2013 ahead of it.
He can be proud of that innings, but I dare say, knowing Surya, the man, he would happily trade that 100 for an India win, which isn't going to happen. Here's Moeen Ali, comes in and bowls, and this one's pulled away on the onside. They will get a couple maybe. Or will the ball races away off this outfield. And Avesh Khan, in fact it's Harshal Patel who actually gets 4 runs as the ball was in the air, the batsman crossed. So India get to 195, and now 1 over to come, which will no doubt be bowled by Chris Jordan, needing an impossible 21. Impossible for most except the man sitting alongside me, that is. Be nice if we could sort of zap you in there and put you out in the middle and say, wearing blue, and go for it.
I don't think I'll see Chris Jordan conceding 21.
No.
Not in the death.
Not to these batters. Surya was there, maybe there was a semblance, but what is really interesting is, in a way, this has turned out to be the most interesting of the 3 matches, even though at this point in time you know who the winner is, because the first 2 games I think India just dominated, and England looked like that when they'd got 3 wickets in the power play for 30 odd, but Suryakumar Yadav, what a knock.
Yeah, and you always want to see a good contest, and I think that's what today proved. Obviously with 6 balls to go, unless something that none of us foresee happening, it would be an England victory, but you can argue that it was a contest for 39 out of the 40 overs, and everyone here in the bright sunshine will have definitely got the money's worth.
Oh, absolutely. Anyone who's been privileged to watch this innings, and indeed David Malan's, which was also huge in the context of not just his own England chances, but also the England innings, which went all the way up to 215. So, last over of the game and of the T20 series here, as Jordan comes into bowl to Avesh Khan. Comes in bowls and he pulls his front leg away and hits it up the ground. They'll take a single, and that'll bring Harshal Patel on strike. 196 for 7. 20 now of 5. India will take heart from this performance with the bat. I'm just showing the the ability to sort of still get up to close to 200 after having lost the top 3 or 4 batters for not too many.
Especially in foreign conditions as well. We know they're capable of doing it in India. Persons will say in the subcontinent, and then people will say there's a bit of a question mark around England, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, if they can pull these type of performances out of the hat.
Jordan into Harshal Patel, who's playing it away on the onside to deep mid-wicket. There would have been a run. He doesn't want it, and it's fielded, and the ball is on its way back. 196 for 7. 4 balls remain in this, the third and final of the T20 international series between India and England. India, of course, winning it already, having won the first 2 games, the second of which was played yesterday. And this was a real contest till the time Suryakumar Yadav was at the crease. Jordan into bowl to Harshal bowls, and again lovely Yorker there, brilliantly executed. And I think just as well that Harshal got some bat on it, otherwise he would have needed someone to look at his toes.
This is vintage Chris Jordan, and that's why for his previous over, when he got some tap from Suryakumar, just wanted to see him go to wide Yorkers. This is what made Chris Jordan. Chris Jordan is a fantastic cricketer, catching, batting. He has other strings to his bow, but this is Chris Jordan. This is the world-renowned Chris Jordan at the death, bowling either straight or wide Yorkers. Probably the best in the business at it. Just want to see him get back to it a bit earlier.
Here he is again in bowls, and Harshal gets inside and is going to be caught. He is by Gleeson at 45, and India lose their 8th wicket, looking to play the ramp shot. Never got any momentum or never timing on it. Just ballooned up in the air. 196 for 8, and 2 balls remain to complete the formalities of England's victory.
Again, proper execution from Chris Jordan. I think when you think forward to Australia, England need to know who are going to be the death bowlers. In the UAE, it didn't work out to plan. But going into Australia, there's probably even more scope for death bowling. You can use the pitches in Australia. You can go hard length. The boundary sizes are massive, so miss hits probably would happen more so than it would happen here today or in most grounds in England. And when you have someone with the pace that Chris Jordan is bowling at now, 87, 88, 89, all the way up to 90, and nailing Yorkers with the ability to bowl hard length as well, he's someone that you have to think needs to be on that plane. You also have the Tamar Mills. Gleeson has now put his name into the hat. So England need to decide who are going to be the death bowlers and almost work their way back up. You have someone like Willie who's an excellent operator, especially with the new ball, but they need a complete bowling unit, not just guys who can bowl 2 at the top and 2 at the back, but guys who can give you an option in the middle as well. Spot
on, Jordan bowls, and he's hit that one firmly as Bishnoi. They'll come back for 2. So those 2 runs will take India's total up to 198 now for 8. And the last ball of the game coming up. So selection woes in many ways, spoiled for riches. England, India, possibly other teams as well. Not a lot of time and not a lot of T20 cricket for everyone.
Yeah, but you just had the blast. These guys have been playing cricket together. In some instances, you can take things from ODI cricket as well and mesh them into T20 cricket.
Last ball of the game. Jordan comes in bowls, and he's bowled him with a perfect Yorker, Carlos, that you wanted to finish the game. And England have won this match by 17 runs. There we are. 17-run victory in the third and final T20 international for England means the series ends 2-1 in favour of India. But a great performance by England, first with the bat, and then in spite of the heroics of Suryakumar Yadav. Carlos, a clinical win in the end, you'd say.
Very clinical. Happy for Josh Butler as well, getting that first win under his belt. I know the character he is probably wouldn't mind too much. He's probably looking forward already to the World Cup, and he knows how he wants to lead. But for the dressing room, Harry Brook has gotten his first win, Gleeson first win. It's nice to have that positive momentum going out of the series with a win under the belt, and they've found a lot of good things throughout this game. David Malan returned to form, answering a few questions that for him are always asked, no matter where he's in the ranking of world T20 batters, and then just getting over the line, always winning winning becomes a habit as much as losing does. And for the way they held the nerve today, Moeen Ali bowled in 19th over. They potentially got a death bowler. He was unearthed as an opening bowler in the UAE. Could they have found another hidden gem in Moeen Ali, the death bowler for Australia? But there were a lot of good things that happened today, and more importantly, it ended with a W. That's the most that they'll take heart from moving out of today's game.
Absolutely. So alongside me, along with Carlos Brathwaite, is Deep Dasgupta. Let's get some thoughts from you, Deep, in terms of the way India approached this game. In the morning, your sort of initial thoughts, I felt, or reaction was, why so many changes?
True.
In terms of that and how it's played out, how do you think the Indian management will now look at this result and the performance?
Listen, I think first of all they'll be extremely happy with the run chase. Obviously did not cross the line, but then the way Surya Kumar batted, obviously he's one of the top players in that Indian side, one of the first names to be picked for that tournament in Australia, the World Cup. But the changes, see, all I'm saying is you don't get to see much or get to understand much after one game. If this is the plan of getting these youngsters like Avesh Khan and Umran Malik a go, then I think it has to be a fair go, not just 1 or 2 games here and there. Maybe just pick them and say, next 3-4 games, just go out there and play. You got the next 3-4 games, but it's not easy for these youngsters to come and play one game every series and then not play for the next 3-4 games. It's kind of unfair as well. So as long as they're happy to kind of continue and give them opportunities because they're good enough. This was a really good pitch. We saw that in the second innings as well, how good this pitch was to bat on. So and it's also unfair to give opportunities to these youngsters on pitches which are belters and then compare it with other pitches which are 160. So it's this is what I'm saying. I mean, if you give them opportunities over 4-5 games, they'll be playing on different tracks, maybe 160 tracks or 200 tracks. You get a fair assessment of how good they are, whether they're ready for this level or not.
67 out of the 198 runs coming off spin between Livingston and Moeen Ali, and they picked up the 1 wicket, but the wicket they picked, Moeen did in the 19th over, was probably the one that mattered. Andy?
Well, to highlight the influence of Surya Kumar Yadav, 117 from 55. The rest of India's batting lineup managed 72 from 66. Surya Kumar hit 6 sixes and 14 fours. The rest of India's batters 4 sixes and 5 fours.
Telling stats those. I mean, you look at that scorecard. Sharma got Salt bowled Topley for 11. Rishabh Pant didn't do much, caught behind for 1. Virat Kohli 2 great shots and then caught by Roy of Willie for 11. Shreyas Iyer probably played the most important hand just in terms of playing second fiddle and rotating the strike, but couldn't get going himself really. 28 of 23 before he was caught by Butler of Topley, and that was a key moment, and I'm sure we'll get Carlos's thoughts on that in a minute. Dinesh Karthik couldn't get going today, gone LBW to Willie for 6, I beg your pardon. Jadeja LBW Gleeson for 7. Patel got 5, Avesh not out, and Ravi Bishnoi last to go. But really, Carlos, that over, the moment where we saw the wicket of Shreyas Iyer, and you mentioned, and I think it was a run of 12 or 13 balls in which Surya Kumar Yadav got to face 3. Get both you and Deep to talk about what that does to a batter when he's in that kind of momentum, and what different could the Indian batters have done.
Well, for me, you talk about partnerships, batting in partnerships, and you could see in that partnership that Shreyas Iyer wasn't the one that was the most fluent. Obviously, Surya Kumar Yadav is his day out, and you're thinking about breaking down the game. We all know that once the seamers are on, Shreyas Iyer will get some rib and chin music. Your job at that point in time is to play strong shots and take as little balls as possible to get Surya Kumar Yadav back on strike. He's a good enough player that if he does play one of those strong shots and he hits the gap, he will get a boundary. That's a bonus. But had he got Surya Kumar Yadav on strike, there's 1 wicket less, there's more momentum to Surya Kumar, especially after the over he had. I think he hit Jordan for probably 20 or close to 20 in the over before. All of a sudden you lose a wicket, you lose momentum. Dinesh Karthik comes in and soaks 4 balls up in the same over, and now you've gone from a 20-run over to over with 1 wicket and 5 runs instead of potentially a 20-run over. And even if Topley had bowled a good over that went for 8 or 10, the momentum would not have been lost the way that it was. So I think that for me was a key turning point in the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. But also, if you think about it, the reason why you have someone like a Dinesh Karthik and Jadeja and everyone else is not for them to score 30, 40 runs, for them to have an impact on the game. So they're 7 or 8, or even if they get single-digit scores, they have to be in less deliveries. So as Carlos mentioned, even you lose wickets, that's the thing about modern-day T20 is you don't let the momentum go away from you. You still score runs, you still play your shots, and that's where I think after losing those initial wickets, Shreyas Iyer, as you mentioned, in a 200 game, 28 of 23 is not the kind of innings that you'd want. You want a maybe 20 ball 28 or something on those lines, and then the batters to follow. Again, 7 runs or 8 runs is good enough, but then those have to be in 4-5 balls and not 9-10 balls. Then you're losing those 2 balls, and you add those 2 balls and everything else in the end of the game. And as he mentioned, the strike rate apart from Surya Kumar, the other Indian batters were very average.
Yeah, below par today. Quick look at the bowling. Willie 4 overs, 2 for 40. Topley 4 overs, 3 for 22. One of his better performances after taking some tap in the first game. Gleeson backing up his first game with another good effort. 4 overs, 1 for 31. Jordan 2 for 37 of his 4, and except for that third over which went for a few, he was right on the money. Livingston 2 overs, none for 36, and Moeen Ali 2 overs and the most precious wicket of Suryakumar Yadav for 31.